Control Discovery.
Hello, welcome to Cut Through the Ball, the Post Through the Apocalypse. I'm Ben, as always I'm joined by Gaz.
Hello.
And Mike.
Hello.
And we're on Facebook Live this week. Hello.
Hi.
The faces behind the memes.
So what is it this week, Ben?
Today we're going to talk about Dr. David Kelly,
The good doctor.
the WMD expert who was found in the woods, dead.
He just couldn't take it, could he?
Alleged suicide,
What year was it?
2003. Back to the early 2000s, before our innocence was shattered.
Oh.
And the world went to shit.
It did rather, didn't it?
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah,
It's interesting that this week all three of the show's patron saints, Saint Tony, Saint Alex and Saint Ike, will be making an appearance in some way or another.
2000. Yeah, that was the good times. 2003 for me. I was still at uni, I think.
You mean apart from that massive war for oil we had?
Not in my name.
But it wasn't. No, that's true.
You
didn't purposely start it, did you?
No, to see them people marching
Yes,
on
the
my-
Million Man March.
on
yeah.
my behalf. I wasn't there.
No, neither was I. I was in the reserves at the time. I was quite up for it.
Good old-fashioned war. Yeah.
But,
Should we explain how this goes?
Well, let's first of all we'll say hello to some new listeners: Vietnam, Iran, Oman, France, Pakistan, Japan, India. Hello. Hello to the UK and the United States as well.
Who the fuck is listening to us in Pakistan?
I'm more concerned about the bloke listening to us in Iran. He's going to get stoned to death.
These have got to be expats, haven't they?
Probably.
Brits that are over there working, like, oh, I need a podcast to listen to. There's no, like, there can't be, like,
We might be.
some young Indian stoner is listening to us. Like,
I'll tell you what, if you are a young Indian stoner,
yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you are welcome.
yeah, well,
of course.
absolutely, of course, all are welcome to this house of bollocks.
Unless you leave shitty comments and argue with me on Facebook, then you will be insulted by me.
He has a very
And I'll
specific
block
skill
you.
set.
Yeah, and it's insulting people on fucking Facebook and alienating our listeners with threats of violence.
No, we've got that bloke to do that for us now.
Yeah, we've got an internet heavy who threatens other trolls for us.
Yeah. Must make him the admin. Must make him admin. But yeah, if you are someone in one of the aforementioned countries, please, send us a message. Let us know. I'm intrigued. I'm
Yeah, let us
genuinely
know what you think
interested.
of the show. And
Are
what,
you an
How does it
expat?
What do you wanna hear?
translate? Because I'd imagine I just talk bollocks most of the time.
yeah. Most people have trouble understanding what you say, probably.
Very true, man. That's probably
I
the
reckon
alcohol.
a lot of English people have trouble understanding us when we're a good couple of hours into these.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I don't know how that guy listening in Iran is getting on, but hey, I appreciate it.
So do I. I hope we're improving his English if he's
Yeah.
learning it.
So should we tell him how does this usually work?
So yeah, first of all, we'll go through a bit of weird news. They take about 20 minutes, half an hour tops, and then we'll cut on to the main thrust of today's topic,
Oof.
Dr. Kelly. So what's first on the weird news, Mike?
Let's get the boys' views on this week's weird news.
what have we got?
UFO Attack. This is from notfromearth.co. 5 extraterrestrials petrified, and this is petrified as in turned to stone,
Right.
23 Russian soldiers.
Nasty.
It's got them hard.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt so early on, but I have questions.
Yeah.
Is it possible, like, you can't turn someone to stone, can you?
Aliens can.
Medusa can.
Yeah, Medusa can.
So already, why couldn't they? They take the piss with these stories. So it's not enough that there's aliens. Oh, they're turning people to fucking stone as
Yes, technology.
well. Oh come on, I'm not that stoned yet.
Well,
See what
see what you did there? Should have done this at the end. So 23 Russian soldiers lost their lives during a UFO attack in Siberia. The CIA declassified report describes this event as a horrific picture of revenge on the part of extraterrestrial creatures, a picture that makes one's blood freeze.
Well, what a surprise, the CIA involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get everywhere, them little monkeys. Sorry.
This infamous report, created on March 27th, 1993, is a translation of a report from the Ukrainian newspaper, not even going to attempt to say that. Namely, Ternopil yeah, something like that. If you live in the Ukraine, please correct me. Namely, the newspaper claims that after Mikhail Gorbachev lost his leadership, many KGB files ended up in CIA hands. Among them, allegedly, there was a 250-page portfolio on the strange UFO attack. The report included pictures and witness statements as well. The report explains how a low-flying saucer rose up a military unit in Siberia, not Serbia, completely different place. One of the Russian soldiers fired a missile into the air, which shot it down. This article was written appallingly. It said...
What, are you saying not from earth.co?
Isn't the paragon of journalism I might have thought it was?
.co, it's not even a .co.uk or .com. What, you're just not good enough to have the .mut on the end.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Well, I found 2 articles on this, and this one was the shortest.
Okay.
The other one was like a 10-minute read. But I can't turn down UFOs turning people to stone.
But there was a huge explosion which petrified 23 Russian soldiers.
No,
How does an explosion turn one to stone?
there's alien explosions, isn't it?
That's the explanation.
Aliens.
Aliens.
If I imagine people with big hair. Aliens.
With afros?
Yeah.
Turning people to stone. It'd be a pretty cool weapon, to be fair, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, it would.
Turning people to stone.
I mean, you could not only kill people, you could also have a nice range of garden ornaments.
Yeah. You could kill people during the week and have a little market stall on the weekend.
Exactly, they're in the market.
Yeah.
It's in this Russian soldiers I've got in just. Don't they look authentic? You see the horror etched on their faces.
It's like them people from Pompeii that are just...
There's one jacking
the
off.
wanking man from Pompeii. What I love about that Pompeii is like, well, not love about it, but you've got the two extremes. You've got the really sort of like emotional, poignant, the mother curled over the baby to protect
Yeah,
it.
of course, yeah.
And then you've got the other end of the human scale and the bloke who's just like, fuck it! One last wank. And it would have had to have been a power wank because it moves pretty quick.
Yeah.
Once it's happening, it's happening.
Well, it's not the lava, is it? It was the
dust.
ashes and dust. Pompeii was eventually sort of... Everyone Pompeii was killed by was the ash and the dust, and then the lava came in after.
And preserved them, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he held his breath and went for it. Fair play.
So there's a bit of autoerotic asphyxiation going on as well.
What a hero.
Yeah. I don't know how we got to wanking Romans.
But some of these guys have got a similar technology to Pompeii.
Possibly.
But miniaturized, weaponized through, like you said, alien physics.
Yeah. So there were two other soldiers among the other 23 who survived the incident. They described that after the UFO got shot down, 5 eerie creatures blended into a huge glowing ball that buzzed and fizzed.
Oh,
Following this was a huge explosion which petrified 23 Russian soldiers who were curiously observing the shocking event. The report said, the KGB report goes on to say, the remains of the petrified soldiers were transferred to a secret research institution near Moscow. Well, of course they were.
To the garden section.
Yeah. To Gorbachev's fucking herb garden.
It's now a water feature.
They've literally got the pissing bloke.
Oh man. Well, what do you think then, boys?
Well,
Honest answer?
you know that usually I'm a bit of a slut for aliens.
You are. That is true.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not aliens?
I just don't know. I don't know. I mean, the reality of it is, I can't say either way, can I, if this is true or not?
Well, we can't. This is the point, I
My,
suppose.
my gut instincts are, if an alien got to Earth with fucking around with the Russians, turning them to stone, I don't think it would ever be let out, especially not to a website, not from Earth.co. .co. I've never heard of another website that's just .co.
Yeah, it's just true.
.co for completely fucking ridiculous.
So what you're saying is, you don't think they're... I'll phrase this another way. Are they more reliable than the Daily Mail?
No.
Wow.
No. The Daily Mail has page 3 girls in it. And
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
They're definitely real. Not the Daily Mail. But
So-
so the Daily Star. The Daily Star does.
Yeah. That's just
Yeah.
tits and crap fake news, isn't it?
They're real.
Well, the tits are real.
That's what I'm
News
Kids
saying.
probably aren't real
No,
either.
no, yeah. That's a good point, actually, yeah.
It's all fake.
But the girls are real.
Well,
This
they're
is-
real girls.
So I'm saying, I will take the Daily Star over notfromearth.co.
All right, fair enough.
At least, I don't know, at least these aren't racist. The Daily Mail is.
Yeah?
Yeah, but we're about the Daily Star, aren't we? Oh, fucking hell, I'm
Yeah,
confused.
next article. I said earlier we've got the 3 patron saints of the show. St. Blair,
Right.
St. Alex, St. Ike.
Blessed be them.
Well, apparently David Icke's a Holocaust denier. I
Oh,
wasn't aware of this.
this has come up before. I can tell you before you even read the fucking article. This has been shot down before. Some people think that when he says lizards, Ben,
Yeah,
he doesn't mean lizards. He means Jews.
right.
Uh,
We know he means lizards.
we know
He literally
he
does
fucking
mean
means
lizards.
Yeah.
lizards. I've nearly read a 600 fucking page book about him talking about lizards, and believe you me, he's not going to talk to some fucking weirdo shaman in Africa, which he does, right?
Credo Mutua.
That's him. Hey, well done, Mike. He doesn't
Yeah.
go to speak to old Credo, right? Because it's some thinly veiled fucking slam on the Jews. No. This man believes in lizards. Now, and he's fought these claims before, as far as I know. Now, whether or not, that's not necessarily the same thing as being a Holocaust denier, though, is it? Being an
There's a difference,
anti-Semite,
isn't
you
there?
can be an anti-Semite who isn't
Yeah,
a
of course
Holocaust
you can.
denier, if you see what I mean. So has he actually been caught denying the Holocaust?
Well, let's read the article. So, controversial British conspiracy theorist Saint David Icke maybe have his sainthood revoked after this. Who
No,
knows?
he won't.
No, not in our eyes.
Not
You gotta
never,
take it-
not
you
for
gotta-
me. He started it all, mate.
You can't have a. If he
We've
is.
got a fucking war criminal and a bullshit spouter.
Well, I suppose. We're not exactly keeping the best of saints, are we?
Well,
I mean, Satan's a friend of the show.
but we've got to be honest though, our patron saints, like everything we do, are pretty sarcastic,
That's true.
tongue in cheek, because with that sort of dicks, with that sort of
That's
dickish
true.
humour, aren't we?
Yeah.
We don't actually have shrines where we worship them.
Well,
No, but I think he's.
Ben
well,
does. but-
I think old Ikey baby's an alright bloke though. I've got a soft spot for Ikey.
I don't think you want a job off him.
Well, hey,
job?
let's fucking clarify that. A working, paid, normal job.
Not a gob job.
No.
Well, even with those Hollywood teeth.
For the right price.
So he's been banned from entering Australia, with the Home Affairs Department cancelling his visa. Mr. Ike, 66, believes the world has been taken over by alien lizards, including some who have infiltrated the British royal family. Only some. He is a Holocaust denier who argues that September the 11th terrorist attacks were an inside job, but I think a lot of people argue that as well, to be fair. Mr. Ike was due to travel to Australia next month, taking his latest speaking tour to Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane, Hobart and Sydney. Wow, 55 quid to 75 quid to get in to see him for 4
Australian dollars.
Oh, Australian dollars, whatever. It's the Queen's currency, Mike.
Only just.
Just about. 4 hours that will change your life. The world's most famous alternative researcher has put together a presentation that will blow even the most open of minds. See? Blowing. The man who predicted 9/11? Did he?
Kind of.
The banking crash, cashless society, transhumanism and more. Years before they reached the public arena. When he says transhumanism, are we talking transsexualism?
Robots.
No, robots.
Oh, so the
People-
next stage of human evolution,
Yes.
genetic development, things like that.
Nothing
Okay.
to do
No, more sort of actually merging with robots.
So I'm not going to become a genetically enhanced
cybernetic
space marine.
implants. Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Sweet.
the next phase of human
Randy Kramer shit.
technological evolution, when we reach our technological evolutionary potential, he's not on about, it's man!
Oh, right.
Transhumanism.
Uh,
That guy's released a rap, that lady, sorry, I wasn't trying to be funny then, has released a rap single, I think, as far as I know. From the one from the clip.
oh, right.
It's man! Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure I'll check
Sources
that out.
told the ABC his visa had been cancelled on character grounds.
It said there,
Now that is dodgy.
I know, I don't like this at all, but it said there,
It's a bit vague, innit?
has
Yeah.
anyone got their phone? It said factually, it just said it as a factual statement, he is a Holocaust denier. I've not,
I've never heard him
that's
say
never
about it.
come up. He's quite into
Yeah, I've never heard that.
I think that's
But does he deny the Holocaust for right-wing reasons? Try saying that. Right-wing reasons, or does he just think that it's like a conspiracy to give to greater control from the lizards?
He probably thinks it's a new world order, like
False flag.
it was maybe not a false flag, but maybe it was orchestrated. He probably says the official story's bollocks because that's what he does, isn't it? But to call him a Holocaust denier, I think that's fucking dangerous from this ABC.net.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
dangerous to cancel him on
because they don't like his character. You can't come in and do your talk.
I mean, can you imagine that?
And we could go two ways with this.
Of course you can.
The way I see it. Well, it could be that maybe they're putting their foot down and just saying, look, we could do without this man spouting his utter bullshit to arenas full of people. As a country, we don't want our population being... I know, I'll get there. I don't want our population being dumbed down with this utter crap. So no, he's not allowed in. Or is it a case of like, he's got too much truth...
Valid
and
point.
we don't want people to see him because we just think it's dangerous people hearing this information. Or are they genuinely like, two people complained on Twitter, he's an anti-Semite, so in this day and age you have to be seen to be taking a moral stand, don't you? And Australia's taking a moral stand on Saint Ike, and I'm with you, Mike. It's a dangerous precedent to go, you should let them all talk.
Of course you should.
And then you just argue them down, don't you?
Yeah, argue them down, protest, whatever you want to do. That's your right. That's their right to speak. As long as they're not inciting violence or hate speech.
Which I've never heard him do, to be fair.
No. I've never heard him say...
He spouts peace and love.
Yeah, I never heard him say, go and kill the Jews.
No, he
I never heard him
spouts...
say anything like that.
He talks about the power of love and like positive vibrations, all that hippie... He's a bit of a new age guy.
I think I'm leaning towards the fact that the Australian government doesn't want their population woke.
Yeah, too woke.
Too woke.
Too woke to fuck, man.
Yeah, but what kind of a fucking basis is that? It's so vague, isn't it?
Character ground.
Well, last year they cancelled the visas of right-wing provocateur and founder of the Proud Boys group, Gavin McInnes, ahead of his planned speaking tour.
And he's not a fascist either, he's just right-wing.
I'm 100% against what he believes, but I would still let him speak.
He's allowed to talk, of course he is, because look, right-wing doesn't mean fascist, right? There's fucking levels to everything. Right-wing can also just mean, it sounds bad right-wing, it means conservative. Yeah. Right-wing sounds bad.
I think the Proud Boys are a bit further right than
probably,
conservative.
Yeah, but they're not fascist. They're not white supremacist.
No, I'd shoot them all in the face.
You know.
Well, I don't really know. I'm not up on their sort of their beliefs and that. But
they're one of the big ones in America, I think. The Proud Boys. Not 100% sure.
They're racist. They're not racist.
You scroll down a bit and see what they're saying.
But then they've got a right to say it.
Of course they have.
We can argue against it and say, look, your views are dickish.
Nobody fucking bans anyone from the left though. With their utter dickish fucking, like, they never get banned from talking anywhere. Like the fucking, I'm on about the extremes.
Oh, in America, if you were a Marxist in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, you couldn't speak.
That's them now. Look who's into. We've let the fucking lunatics take over. He's not allowed to talk because people will get. Why not? Why can't he talk?
Yeah, as long as he's not inciting violence, he's got
It's
the right
the
to
left.
speak.
It's the left that's fucking.
I'm leftist, and I agree with you. He's got a right to speak.
It's the left that's cutting everybody's right to speak and pressing for all this stuff, not letting people talk and do their little shows and things. It's not, you know. It's people on the left who are supposed to believe
they're
as
not
part
the
of
true
their
left
core.
guys.
No, they're not. They're some new neo-lefty fucking.
Like leftist Nazis.
Yeah, they're neo-lefty fascist wankers. There we go. We just.
Is
give
it
them a
possible
new
to
name.
go so far left you actually become right?
Well, you start flying around in circles and eating your own arsehole, don't you? Basically, Ouroboros.
Of course.
But and also you're just martyring him as well now. A bit like with Alex Jones, to the conspiracy-minded people of the world. This is just going to lionise him.
Oh, wouldn't surprise me if Alex got hold of Ike now.
Oh, he'll be interviewed on. Mind you, I don't know. David might have a bit more sense than that. He might not be seen dead on.
Well, Divya Abramovich, a chairman of the Antidefamation Commission, who launched a campaign to revoke Mr. Ike's visa, praised the government for declaring in a loud voice that anti-Semites and Holocaust deniers will never find a home in Australia. He says, allowing Ike into our country would have crossed red lines and would have sent the message that he's open season on the Jewish community and that vilifying and maligning Australian Jews is okay and normal, Dr. Abramovich.
Yeah, but where does the banning end?
I think that's slander. I don't think he's got anything to back that up. I think it's slander to say that. Do you think that's why David Icke is going to Australia? No, he's going to sell tickets and make some money. He's not there to fucking abuse any Jews.
I think the point is that the doctor there probably thinks that he means Jews, he means lizards are Jews, whereas if you actually, like we three here, if you actually followed
if
stuff...
he's a Holocaust denier, he's got a right to say that.
No, it's illegal in most places to deny the Holocaust.
Is it?
Yeah. It's against the law in Germany for a start.
It might be in Germany. I remember there was an incident...
I'd imagine that there's several other countries where it's illegal.
There was a French historian, and he wrote a book denying the Holocaust. Yeah. Noam Chomsky said he's got a right to say it, but he's an idiot for saying it. And he got pillared for saying that. But
but the thing is...
But Noam Chomsky's point is, where does it end? If you don't let him speak, who's next?
Yeah, but the point is, as well, if you're literally spouting false history and passing off as fact, it influences other minds. The point of the Holocaust is, it shouldn't happen again.
It shouldn't.
So you don't allow people to speak out and say, oh,
I'd fight against it completely. I'd fight against that point of view.
Yeah, of course, as anyone would, but... this is getting a bit too fucking heavy for me.
Yeah.
Next one.
We support the Ike, I think. If it turns out that he really is a...
I've never heard him say anything about the Holocaust, admittedly, so...
I don't think he
I think this doctor guy hasn't basically sort of taken Mr. Ike as... Saint Ike as... Hey, it's lizards, man. It's genuine lizards. It's alien lizards. It's multidimensional lizards. It's not the Jews.
Yeah.
It's genuinely lizards.
Chill out, man. He really does mean lizards.
Yeah. Goddamn lizard queen.
Yeah, go on YouTube, incidentally, listener. Search Solar Warden, that's the band name, and a song called Lizard Queen. And have a listen.
Yeah.
That's us.
Well, it's you.
Ben's our mascot. Ben's our Eddie.
I'm just going to stand there with a tambourine.
You're a drummer, Ben.
Oh, yeah, so got to do the
You're a drummer.
Got to do the drum work.
Well, he's definitely the thickest one, isn't he? So
also the most successful of the ladies. Everyone loves a drummer, Gaz.
And the baldest is normally drummer.
What planet do you live on? Drummer is not the most successful one with the ladies in any band ever.
Yeah, but you're taken.
Oh, in this band it might be, yeah. Oh, okay, but only because I'm not playing.
Come on, Ringo Starr.
You think Ringo got more action than fucking John?
Yeah, John was with Yoko all that time.
Ringo still wasn't fucking getting any.
He's a sex god, Ringo Starr.
Yeah, no, we keep the title up Ringo.
My favourite quote about Ringo is, I think it was John who said, some interviewer said, they were like, are you the best songwriters in the world? And then the next question, do you think Ringo's the best drummer in the world? And he goes, he's not even the best drummer in this band.
I've heard that one before, yeah.
Bless him. Anyway.
Awesome. Alright, last piece then, last bit of weird news for a bit. Conservative Christians claim say her name for me, Mike.
Alexandria Cortes.
That's it. Is a witch leading attack against Trump. She scares them. Conservative Christians claim that Alexandria Cortes is a witch guided by demons and leading an attack against President Donald Trump. Frightened by a smart, articulate, attractive young woman, conservative Christians panic, worried that Representative Cortes is really a witch leading demonic attacks.
AOC is the...
AOC, can I say AOC? Yeah. Fantastic. Earlier this month, Dave Kabul, president of the religious right group Intercessors for America, explained how Representative AOC is connected to a coven of witches that cast spells on Donald Trump 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, presumably 365 days a year. That's a lot of spell casting.
It's not working, is it?
No,
He's fucking laughing his little fucking cock off, isn't he? He's happy as a fucking trumping suntan.
He's happy as a trumping piss.
Hooker's piss.
Hooker's happy as a trumping hooker's piss.
I love it.
Let's see what he says. There's a quote here. It's been widely publicised as a coven of witches that cast spells on President Trump 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This particular coven is found in the southern portion of New York City. So right in the middle of all this, the Southern District, in the middle where those witches are doing the 24/7 spellcasting, we find the territory of AOC. He added, her district is in the centre of all this going on. Is this coincidental? Maybe. Is there an evil thread running through this area trying to dispel diabolical power? He just answers his own question. Because he knows it's all
no,
bollocks.
there isn't.
That's why. He knows it's all bollocks, and he's saying it. He knows it's all bollocks, and he's saying it to make some money.
Well, that's a rhetorical question, isn't it?
Oh, fucking.
It's a oh no, I nearly dropped an R bomb. No, it's definitely an R word question.
Fucking. That's what I say. He's just.
Fucking with a crucifix.
If you believe in a magic man in the sky, you're going to believe in witches. You know, your tolerance of what things you accept in life are very low, evidently.
Yeah.
If you genuinely think that witches and spell casting has any fucking difference, it doesn't. Sorry.
I've not seen any evidence to suggest it has.
Although some days when I get up, I'm convinced someone's got a fucking voodoo doll of me. My fucking back kills in the morning.
Oh,
That's me, sorry, I'll put a hex on you.
Oh man.
That's just karma for being a cunt.
I don't believe in karma though, so it's.
It believes in you.
Actually, I've got an issue with karma. Actually.
Go on then.
Well, I think that they say, oh yeah, if you do good things, then good things will come back to you. But if I'm only doing good things for good things to come back to me, it's not very karmic, is it?
Well, that's not.
It's a catch-22.
You do the good things because you feel good. You're not doing them.
Yeah,
for
but then you're
karma.
going to get the return back, and you know you're going to get that return back.
Yeah, but you don't treat it like a business transaction. You just live in the knowledge of knowing that it's there.
That's bullshit anyway. Be a good person because you want to be a good person.
We don't know.
Well, all about perspective is your reality. So if your perspective is, you know, I want to give love to everybody else, it may come back to you.
I'm all up
Do
to
you know
giving
what,
love to
Ben?
anyone.
Do you know what, Ben? You're right. Those fucking monks who spent fucking hundreds of years like thinking and philosophizing and meditating and passing down what they'd learned. Fucking what do they know? You're
Yeah,
right.
you're right, Gaz.
Karma,
Thanks.
bollocks.
Thank you. Start to hear.
I mean, there might be something to it. You're not open to maybe the possibility. Because I know I don't believe in God, but I don't know. We definitely don't understand the universe. We don't even understand what it's physically made
You
of.
don't even know if it's real. It could be a fucking simulation.
We literally, there is a.
If it's a simulation,
probability-
things will be going a lot better.
So in a
Why?
simulation,
Matrix-
karma. Here's a good
Oh.
example. Spoilers for the listener, but you two haven't played the game. Red Dead Redemption
Nah.
2. Right, I completed it at the weekend, and it was a very emotional, ending. And I was like, oh. And I went online and I read. Apparently, because you have a moral meter in the game, if you played the game as a bad guy, you don't get a beautiful, nice ending. The game ends in quite a nasty, upsetting way.
Oh, right.
So it's obviously a code within the game. Karma is a code within the game, is what I'm getting at. So if we're in this simulation, what's to say there is not some sort of karmic code working on our simulation, and basically, there's a little something to it. But then the flip side of that is all the massively successful evil cunts in the world.
There you go.
But are they happy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
It's
they
like,
are.
it's like Red Dwarf. But who's better off, him with his millions of dollars and his mansion and his supermodel girlfriend, or me with what I've got? It's him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Come on, let's go.
It's right. It is right. So if karma is real, then all those fuckers in charge and making the billions and screwing the planet and screwing over everyone will get something come back to them, but they're not.
Maybe they get it in the afterlife, Ben.
Oh, that's not now, is it? That's not now. I want it now.
Maybe they come back as a fucking slug.
Oh, great. So what do I come back as for living a normal, decent life? Do I go
Like a
mad for a
pigeon,
bit?
like a pigeon.
Do
or
I get to be
something?
one of them in the next life?
Well, maybe.
Maybe. Doubt it, but you never know.
Oh, fuck it, it's bollocks.
You
You're
don't
here,
know.
you're here, you make the most of it,
You don't
you have
know,
as
do
much
you?
fun as you can, and then you die. There you go.
Have you ever had... Now, you're going to mock me for this, but I've had this for a few years. Because I can't play the guitar, I know a couple of chords, but even before I'd learnt a couple of chords, whenever I picked up a guitar, I used to get a really weird feeling. Like, it felt right, and I knew what to do, but I didn't know what to do.
That was the drugs, guys.
And I used to think, no, this is before the drugs, in my teenage years, and I used to think, what the fuck is that? It's like a sense memory or something from a past life where I did play the guitar.
You weren't Jimi Hendrix's favourite
somewhere in the
backup guitarist.
multiverse where another version of me.
It was Jimi Hendrix's chief eunuch.
Hey!
The roadie.
Oh,
They only hire eunuchs so they don't fuck the...
I was never a
Fuck the
eunuch
Rufus
in
and
any of the
Rufus.
multiverses.
You are in one multiverse, at least.
No,
Yeah.
I'd still got more balls than you, even if I was.
How have you know I've got porn star balls? Huge. Huge.
Wow.
That was very Trumpian, wasn't it?
Yeah. My balls are huge. Nobody's balls are bigger than mine. I have the biggest balls.
Yeah.
You don't. So anyway, the cat's...
We'll measure them in the break and we'll find out who's got the biggest balls.
Get a tape measure, Mike.
Well, we've been doing
it's a ball off.
We're doing the pod for
I was
quite a
going to
while
use cup
now.
and feel.
Yeah, I'm not so down for that. Just a tape measure's fine.
A tape measure?
Whatever.
You wouldn't need a tape measure to measure your balls. You'd need one of those, remember like a 5 centimetre ruler when you was a kid? Little plenty have like Postman Pat on it or something.
15 centimetre ruler.
No, like a 5.
And about a 5.
Like a 5.
So yours are bigger things than you.
Oh, Ben. You do not need a master's degree in psychology to work out that you're obviously having issues with size because you keep talking about how big everything is.
No, I'm fine.
He's got a little willy.
I'm fine. I'm genuinely fine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You keep telling yourself that.
I am.
Well, yeah.
It's all good.
Okay. Fine. Sure.
Is AOC a witch?
Oh, fuck
Yeah, shit, the article. No. Or maybe, who knows?
Could
Could
be.
be.
But I doubt it.
If she is, she's a good witch.
Well, I don't know, I'd quite like it if she was like legitimately casting spells against Donny. I think that'd be fun.
Why would you be worried though if you're a fucking Trump supporter? He's fucking Teflon. Literally nothing could go wrong for him.
They're all gathering around to pray for him anyway. I'm sure that the prayers will be
Surely
deflecting
God
the
can
spells
beat a witch.
and blah-de-blah.
Even he said himself he can go down Fifth Avenue, shoot somebody, and it wouldn't affect him.
Yeah.
Well, the police might get
Wouldn't
involved.
affect his popularity.
Well, no, that's true.
That's what he meant.
That woman did say in that interview ages ago, you know, if he went down and shot someone, she'd still vote for him.
Yeah.
Well, I like the guy. No, I'm joking. I think that concludes the news this week, don't you think?
Yeah.
That was fair. There was a lot of politics this week, but that was fun.
It was good.
Yep.
The main topic today, which is Dr. David Kelly. If anyone doesn't know, he was a WMD, certainly a nuclear biological chemical expert who worked for the MOD and
Weapons inspector.
weapons inspector specifically in the early 2000s, and was specifically tasked with looking into Iraq's chemical weapons programs.
Yeah, I remember this. I remember him dying.
Why was it
Yeah.
important to know what weapons they had in Iraq?
Because that was the whole cause for war.
Yes, it was, wasn't it? Remember all that WMD business?
45
everybody?
minutes.
Yeah, the
so,
45-minute
yeah.
warning. Those were our justifications
Yeah.
for war on an entire nation. So yeah, he was quite an important fella, this.
He
Mr.
was.
Kelly, the good doctor.
So, the confusions, briefings and counter-briefings that surrounded the days running up to the invasion of Iraq in 2002 and early 2003 created a nervousness and a state of tension which caused all parties involved to act in unpredictable ways. During this time, the UK government released 2 dossiers which set out evidence for its belief that Saddam Hussein's regime posed a real threat to world security. The September 2002 document, which stated that Iraq possessed weapons of mass destruction, or WMDs, and that crucially those weapons could be deployed within 45 minutes. And a second, in February 2003, which detailed secret arms networks. A month later, the UK had deployed troops to Iraq to secure Hussein's downfall, in spite of vocal protests from the government's own MPs and many other groups, including that Million-Man March.
Mm.
That just, 1 million people on the streets of London.
Yeah.
Government doesn't bat an eyelid.
Nope.
Now, well,
Enough
that was
MPs voted for this to take us to war as well, that is worth pointing out.
I remember I was at uni at the time. I've mentioned it on the show before, I think, or it was just after uni, and it was sort of awakening times. It was, getting into the whole anti-Bush thing and America's evil warmongers, but then when 1 million people,
1 million
people,
take a day off work,
yeah,
or
turn up
not.
to the Capitol and say, we don't want our country to get involved in this invasion, and the government still goes, what are you gonna do? And goes and does it anyway. That's when you realise, oh, it's all bollocks. It doesn't matter who I vote for, what I do. It's fucking, they'll do what they want to do.
Yeah, and enough MPs voted. Remember, we have to have a vote in the Commons for us to go to war, and enough MPs voted for us to go to war.
I mean, look at today. Look at Macron. I mean, people in the streets now for weeks and weeks and
Yeah,
weeks.
I think
He's
16th
Gilets
consecutive
jaunes.
week. I think they've been at now.
What, sorry?
16th consecutive week.
16th consecutive week, guys. He's got a 21% approval rating and he's still there.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Well, you can't do anything, can you? Quite clearly.
What are you gonna do?
You burned down the capital pretty much, and you still can't get rid of the fuckers.
No, it's not as easy as it used to be in the old days.
Now the old French Revolution, they just rounded up the monarchy and the aristocracy, threw them in the Bastille.
It's not gonna happen anymore. They've got
Sent him out to have a chat with Madame Guillotine that morning.
the government's got better weapons and crowd control.
Of course they have.
And if worst comes to worst, they'll just bomb the city. I'll go down in the bunker and go, fuck it, raise it to glass.
Yeah, we're in the
We'll
bunker.
start again. We'll go back up and start again and raise better people, better sheeple.
So, on the 20th of May 2003, BBC's flagship radio current affairs programme Today featured a report from its defence correspondent Andrew Gilligan, in which he revealed a senior source at the Ministry of Defence accused a member of the Downing Street press office, later identified as Alistair Campbell, that sleazy fucker, one of Blair's little buddies, wasn't he?
Spin doctor, wasn't he?
Spin doctor. And not the guys who did Two Princes. They're alright.
He was a weaving spider, wasn't he?
He was. But they basically sexed up the September dossier.
But if you want to call me baby, buy me flowers.
Then go ahead now. Great song.
Tune, man. Yeah, absolute tune. Two Princes.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
I like the album, I've got it.
I didn't know they did more than one song.
No, and that one song, Two Princes, is on every single rock compilation you buy.
Yeah.
It's always on there.
Good on him.
That's Stiltskin Inside.
Yeah. I got the album of that as well. The rest of it's shit. But that song is like one of my favourite songs of all time.
It's a good track.
I love it.
Damn good song. Basically, they accuse him of having sexed up the dossier by including the 45-minute deployment. The BBC's Newsnight correspondent Susan Watts also reported that a senior official believed the intelligence services came under heavy political pressure to include the 45-minute claim in its dossier. So you basically got the government saying, look, we really want to go to war with Iraq.
Yeah.
Because the Americans do. And the Americans are doing the same thing. I'm not sure if it was Cheney, I did read this, basically turned around to the Pentagon generals and said, we're going to go to war with Iraq, give us an invasion plan. They're like, why are we going to war with Iraq? We're going to war with Iraq.
It was this Darth Cheney.
Give us a plan of invasion. And that was effectively it. We don't need to go to war with Iraq. Yes, we do. Come up with a plan. And it must have been the same in Britain.
Well,
the intelligence services are basically being bullied
into
saying they've got that 45 minutes in deployment, they could hit us, tell the public that.
I remember in the UN, Colin Powell, he got his...
Colin Powell.
Got his little vials out, didn't he? Showing everybody.
He did.
Remember that?
What was in the vials? Spunk.
I
masturbated in the hotel today.
Hey, who doesn't do that?
I think it was biochemical weapons or something, wasn't it?
Would he have been allowed to take them into the UN?
Yeah, good point. I don't know. I remember him having little...
It sounds like a fucking comic book.
He had little vials or something.
I injected myself with the antidote to all this.
Sounds like the G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah.
Here's a...
Well, what about the first Gulf War when they said they got that young girl to come up and say that they were taking the babies?
Oh, well, yeah.
You mean the Kuwaiti ambassador's daughter?
Yeah.
Great actress, though. Surprised she never had a career.
Fantastic. Well, speaking of G.I. Joe, I fell asleep while the first movie was on the other night, and Leona, my good lady, she watched the rest of it. Anyway, next morning, she says, first thing in the morning, she's like, in my dream you cut your hair last night. And I was like, oh, okay. And she said, was I in your dream? And I said, no, I dreamt about terrorists. And she said, oh, that's nice. Are you okay? And I was like, well, that's what happens when you fall asleep to fucking shooty bang bang films, isn't it, basically? No wonder I was dreaming about fucking terrorists.
You mean you didn't dream of her as the Baroness?
No, but I gave it, you should have seen her face when I was like, no, I dreamt about terrorists. She's like, oh. What did she think I was going to say? Of course I dreamt of you, darling. Every night.
Yeah, that's what you meant to say, yes.
Yeah, I know, but I gave an honest answer. No,
you never do that.
Dreamt about terrorists.
Every successful relationship is built on lies.
Yeah.
No, that's a joke. That's not true.
Of course. Weaving Spiders coming up here.
Exactly.
Check out Mike's song coming soon.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
Next solo award release.
The Bohemian Blues.
Is that what it's called? Weaving Spiders?
I've called it the Bohemian Blues.
Oh, the Bohemian. Oh, yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Excuse me. Oh, my God. I bollocked you for doing that.
Yeah,
No,
so you've actually done it more times than I have. I just let it go.
No. Yeah. Sorry, listener. I belched.
So, the government, enraged by the leak, demanded that Gilligan reveal his source, and weeks of accusation and counter-accusation began, with the BBC defending Gilligan anonymity of his source, and the government's press machine attempting to discredit the story. Richard Sambrook, the BBC's Director of News, described the attacks as an unprecedented level of pressure from Downing Street. And they were both asked to appear between the Foreign Affairs Select Committee to explain their actions. A bit of a war between the BBC and the government at this point.
Who sexed up the dossier? Well, this is pretty fucking mental, isn't it, when you break it down, just this part of the story. The BBC prints a story, which they have every right to do.
Yeah.
You know, and the government is then, like, intensely putting pressure on them, making the heads of the company go to fucking tribunals and face, you know...
Well, the Foreign Affairs Select Committee is a pretty big committee.
Yeah, to go and stand in front of fucking government ministers, like, and explain yourself and all that. Why are the government's arseholes twitching so badly over this story? Do you know what I mean? Why go so fucking heavily, like, you know, because a lot of papers say a lot of shit about the government which can't be backed up the majority of the time. They don't go after them all like this, do they?
Less and less these days, but yeah.
Well, this is what I like about the BBC at this point, because they're actually fucking saying, no, you're talking bollocks. We think you're sexing this up to take the country into war. And the government is then having to backpedal and say, no, do you know what you're about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Remember that
they're
tune,
supposed
Liz and Gaz?
Yeah, I do, when it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they had bollocks.
Yeah.
Them were the good old days, Mike.
Well, of course, the BBC had no vested interest in that story, so they could attack it.
That's
Whereas
true.
the paedophile scandal and things, they have a vested interest.
That's true.
Yeah,
That
you
is
don't
very
shit
true.
on your own doorstep. I'm not stupid. Oh yeah, let's talk some more about how we let some monster, the most prolific pedo in the history of the world, touch up young girls on our company property.
Yeah.
Let's put that one on the news again. No, shut the fuck, move
Every
on.
year we'll have a Jimmy Savile Remembrance
No,
Day.
no,
Jimmy
no.
Savile across all channels.
Oh, dear God, that's an idea of
No,
hell.
they're not stupid, see. They're not going to touch that one with a fucking 10-foot...
It's like when, you know, Theresa May had that document that had all the paedophiles' names on. It accidentally got shredded when she was Home Secretary. The BBC soon dropped that one, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, the fuck, that's over.
Yeah, because they probably switched on the shredder.
She probably went to the BBC office and shredded it
Yeah.
there.
Can I use your shredder, please? I don't know if she talks
And
that.
of course, Princess Diana. How can we forget?
People's princess.
What about her?
Well,
If
no,
she
it
died-
starts.
They didn't
Watch
stand
your
up for her,
mouth.
did they?
if she died in that car accident.
Watch your mouth, young man. Watch your tone. That is the people's princess you're
Oh,
talking
you want
about.
to fuck her.
And they killed her.
They didn't kill her. It was an
Killed her and
accident.
her magnificent breasts. She died then.
It was an accident.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, that's one of the few I fucking don't go for, isn't
I was
it?
going to say, come on. As we're about to find out, the government clearly killed people.
He's
Like-
a royalist, isn't he? He was in the army.
Yeah.
He's sworn an oath to the Queen.
That's why he doesn't like Diana.
Mm.
Oh, well, that must be it.
You never thought she was good enough, did you, for your royals? She was worth more than any of them, Ben.
I'm sure.
She had spirit and kindness and an amazing body, which I didn't realise till we'd researched it. As a child, it was lost on me how fucking hot Diana was. And when we researched that episode, fuck me, I fell in love.
Yeah, I did notice.
Woo!
Noticed about you both, to be fair.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
I
killed.
thought at one point you were going to fight over who gets to have her.
The people's princess.
We can all.
I'm sure.
She's all of ours. So what happened to Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, she was everybody's, wasn't she?
Oh.
Oh, oh, that was a low blow.
And that's why you get the fucking back pain. Remember, karma for
It's
being
not every day.
karma
Just
for
some
being a
days.
cunt.
Depends.
Okay.
I've done that following the previous day, obviously. So,
Enough bickering.
yes.
Still on page 1, aren't we?
2.
Page 2.
The media frenzy must have worried Dr. Kelly, who wrote to his line manager at the ministry admitting he'd met Gilligan on the 22nd of May and could have been one of the sources for his story. After another 10 days of intense and increasing pressure to reveal the identity of the source, the MOD then identified Kelly indirectly by refusing to point out he was denied. He was not on the list of
They left
possible
clues,
sources.
didn't they? I heard. Didn't they leave clues to? So if you put the clues together, the only person who could come up with was David Kelly.
Oh right. Well.
Yeah, so he's hung him out to dry that way.
Yeah.
So on the 15th and 16th of July, Dr. Kelly sat in front of the FAC, the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, facing allegations it was he who had been the source of the Gilligan story. Remember, his work's highly classified, isn't it? I mean, he's a fucking weapons inspector.
And he's not used to this sort of fucking attention and pressure.
So is he breaking the law by disclosing this information?
I guess he would be, yeah.
It's fucked up.
The Official Secrets Act, I'd have thought, if
So
nothing else.
basically, whatever the intelligence services say, you can't dispute that. If you do, you're breaking the law, or if you're from inside the organisation.
Yeah,
He's
you're absolutely right. So
Where's the whistleblowing avenues, Gaz?
Well, you got to look at Mr. Assange, and you're hiding out in the embassy.
Yeah, look what fucking Obama did to, what was her name?
Chelsea
Chelsea
Manning.
We know what happens to whistleblowers. Their cars usually drive really quickly into trees and things like that.
They do.
Yeah. Well, they shoot themselves twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strange that, isn't it?
Yeah. Despite much probing by the committee members,
Probing.
Kelly maintained that although he had spoken to Gilligan, he had not been his primary source. Kelly said the controversial point about the 45-minute deployment claim could not have come from him, as he had no part in the actual compilation of the dossier, but had merely presented information, possible inclusion, and thus had not been party to the decisions by the Joint Intelligence Committee. And in fairness, he was quite relaxed at this point, because the FAC, after 2 days, had said it probably wasn't him. It was most unlikely to have been him, in quotes.
Well, he was a nice little scapegoat.
Yeah, and he was laughing and joking with the committee members. He was relaxed. So 2 days, he's probably off the hook, in all fairness. Yeah, his name, he's still probably a person of interest, but he's not the prime suspect anymore. But the following day, on the 17th of July, he left his home at 3 p.m, telling his wife he was going for his usual afternoon walk, and he did not return. At 11:45 p.m, his family contacted the police and reported him missing. He was found at 9:20 the next morning by 2 search volunteers in woods on Harrowdown Hill, about 1.5 miles from his home. The police did not confirm the body as his until July 19th, and then stated they believe he had committed suicide by taking the powerful painkiller cropraxamol and then cutting his left wrist. A day later, after talking to his family, the BBC issued a statement naming Dr. Kelly as a source of both Gilligan's and Watt's reports. So they stabbed him in the back in his death. The interesting thing to note about the 2 people that found him with their dog, they were professional searchers, amateur searchers with a professionally trained dog, found the body,
Right.
and they said he was propped up against a tree.
Yep.
So let's remember that.
Yes.
They then allegedly
Didn't
didn't
touch him.
affect the scene. They left. It took them about 30 minutes to find a policeman, because they could have had they wouldn't have. Well, they should have had a mobile phone. Maybe they didn't. I don't know.
Did they leave the body then?
They left the body as it was.
Well, he was obviously dead,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot they could do.
Well, they weren't at the body for 30 minutes. They left it.
They left
to
the
get
body
yeah.
for 30 minutes, and they went to go and find the police officer in
Okay.
charge. That is where it presumably hoped is where the whole unfortunate episode would end. But there were some who pointed to inconsistencies in the official version of events. Many people who have been close to Kelly professionally and personally did not believe the suicide story, and others believed his death bore all the hallmarks of a planned assassination. The first to speak publicly of their misgivings, and we have this video coming up, were the 2 paramedics who attended the scene of Dr. Kelly's death. They are Paul Bartlett and Vanessa Hunt. Interviewed by Anthony Barnett in The Observer in December 2004, they said they have found little or no evidence of the major bleeding that would have taken place if the severed wrist artery had been the cause of death, as stated by the pathologist. Quote, "When someone cuts an artery, whether accidentally or intentionally, the blood pumps everywhere. I just think it is unlikely that he died from the wrist wound we saw," said Hunt. The paramedics' views were soon supported by a group of doctors who wrote to the Guardian newspaper, saying they too were deeply unhappy with the official cause of death. The severed ulnar artery, they argued, was too thin to have allowed a major hemorrhage, especially as, out in the open, the blood vessel would have been closed off by surrounding muscle long before Kelly bled to death. So let's see what the paramedics have got to say. And remember, these are paramedics. They attend a lot of cases with this intense.
They found David Kelly's body here in rural Oxfordshire last July, his wrist slashed and painkillers in his bloodstream. The apparent suicide led to a police investigation and an extraordinary public inquiry. Dr. Kelly, a government weapons inspector, was found to be a source of disputed reports claiming Downing Street hyped up the threat from Iraq. He was caught up in a battle between government and BBC before he died. But it's the finding that Dr. Kelly died from cutting his own wrist that's again being questioned by the paramedics at the scene. The reaction in front of the cameras tonight?
I suppose everyone was surprised with the outcome. Like I say, we're not medical experts. All we commented on was the amount of blood over the body.
We can only say what we saw on that morning, and there just didn't appear to be a substantial amount of blood loss either onto the clothing or around the area.
The paramedics didn't deny one pathologist's evidence that he had found more blood at the scene, but they still weren't satisfied.
I would like to have seen the photographs that were taken when we were there, and maybe the photographs pertaining to the amount of blood that was found. Maybe we were wrong, I don't know. Maybe it was under the body.
But Lord Hutton's verdict will stand, and tonight the police are standing by their investigation. It may be impossible to answer every question about Dr. Kelly's death, or to end the speculation and conspiracy theories the paramedics say they want put to rest. John Pienaar, BBC News.
So, they say they're not medical experts. I say they're pretty fucking good, the paramedics.
They see a lot of this. And
They do. I mean, I'd imagine they get called out to a lot of self-inflicted wounds.
one of the documentaries I watched, somebody, it was a doctor, was talking about how unfortunately he has seen quite a few of these cases where people have slit their wrists. And
Is it
and
Dr.
you
Halpin?
touched-
David Halpin?
Yeah, you touched on it there, and you did quote him, I think. But basically, it's like a fucking horror movie when someone hits that artery.
Yeah.
It fucking sprays.
Oh
Apparently,
yeah,
it's a mess.
It is. It's
It'll
every
be on the
every,
roof, like
every pump of your heart
Yeah.
is a spurt out
Yeah.
of that artery.
And
It is. There's blood
It's a mess.
splattering. I mean, I think you can get up to about 20 feet off a major artery.
So
I'd think that they've seen their fair
share of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The paramedics.
They're
of
just
course
being
they are,
honest
yeah.
when they say, "Hey, look, we're not medical experts." That's because they're being honest. They're not qualified doctors, but exactly what you just said. Experience speaks for something. They've
Yeah.
been, and they were there. They've got no reason to lie. They're just saying, "Hey, we were at the scene first. We didn't think there was a significant amount of blood." Or
What did the dog walkers? What did they say?
They didn't say anything about the amount of blood, but they would have just seen the body. The dog would have found it. They'd have literally just backed off because they
Just
wouldn't want to
wondered
disturb the
what,
crime scene.
Oh, the policemen there. I was wondering what their yeah. I wonder what their opinion would be. The policemen as well. It was.
well,
Well, the guy who was left with the body for that 30 minutes was D.I. Coe.
oh,
And he says he didn't move the body, but yet when more police turned up, he also says the body was flat on its back.
one thing I'd like to say before we move on to the next part, to do with what they just said.
Well, I've got a little bit more on the blood loss.
That paramedic said, we would like to see, because that's after the inquiry they're being filmed speaking there,
The Hutton inquiry.
that we listened to. They said, we would like to see the photographs that were taken while we were there. So obviously they haven't even shown these photographs
Yeah.
in the inquiry in an open sort of public, well, was it public or behind closed doors? I don't know, but
I'd imagine it would have
behind
been.
closed doors. But either way,
Yeah.
they won't show.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that just solve it?
I think most of these things are behind closed doors, to be fair.
Wouldn't that just say, hey, they were there when we took the pictures, so surely it would be okay to show them the pictures again?
You'd think, wouldn't you? Isn't there a difference between an inquiry and an inquest?
There probably is.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a. So in an inquiry,
Yeah.
it's not perjury to be telling a lie.
Yes, because
Okay.
they don't swear.
Right.
They don't swear on the Bible.
Oh, fuck.
I know, but in an inquest,
Mm,
it's lawful.
right.
So you have to be telling the truth. If you're found not, you're in contempt of court. You get to prison.
So it was the Hutton inquiry then?
So if it was
Yeah.
if it was an inquest,
Yeah, then they'd have to.
then they'd have to tell the truth.
and show the
Inquiry is
pictures.
basically bullshit.
So they didn't show the pictures?
No, it's
Well,
bullshit.
why not just... Because so obviously there's something
But in all these
fishy already.
cases, normally,
Mm.
it's an inquest. So why did they decide this time to have the inquiry instead? Same with Grenfell.
Because the first time
Grenfell's an inquiry, it's not an inquest.
Yeah,
of course it is.
Of course it is.
It's the only reason, isn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise you'd have it.
Of course.
The public want it, you'd have it.
Of course, but no. And what have these fucking paramedics got to gain? They probably hate all this shit, having to sit in front of cameras.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it'd be over with them now. This was a few years ago, but well, mind you, I bet they still get bothered by people like us and people who wrote that book and things like that. But
of course, yeah.
Well, they're still investigating this. There was a guy on, I can't remember his name off my head. On Howard Hughes a couple of weeks ago on the Unexplained book with Howard Hughes. I sent you the link.
Listen to that, yeah.
And he's still researching this. You know, he's still fighting. This was not a suicide. He was suicided because, I mean, the doctor, he's a trauma surgeon, David Halpin. He's one of the authors of the lecture. He maintains that even the deepest cut in the region of the ulnar artery would not have caused death. A completed transacted artery retracts immediately and thus stops bleeding, even at a relatively high blood pressure. The artery itself lies deep in the wrist on the little finger side of the hand. Your radial artery is on the other side of your hand. So it's on your thumb side, your right hand side of your hand, the radial artery. That's your big one in your wrist.
Right.
That's the pumping blood out.
Okay.
Sort of, just a tiny one, just quite deep in.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that he managed to cut down deep into his own wrist with that 50-year-old blunt knife that they described in the video, to locate and cut the ulnar artery, that's a bit much, isn't it? Especially when he's considered the physicians also questioned the toxicology results, pointing out the concentration of the drug coproxamol, taking 29 of them, apparently. It wasn't high enough to have killed him, being only a third of a fatal dose. And also his stomach was virtually empty on examination, containing the equivalent of a fifth of one tablet, suggesting that if he did swallow the cited 29 tablets, he must have regurgitated most of them before the drug could be absorbed. It's a pretty amateurish suicide attempt, isn't it?
I reckon he was suffocated without a struggle. They snuck up on him, bag over the head. I don't know how they do it.
Tasered him first.
Can you tell? I know this is a question we might not be able to answer, but I'm wondering if someone's suffocated like that and there's no signs of struggle, can they tell from the autopsy?
I believe, and I'm not a medical expert.
Yeah.
I think there might be some kind of hemorrhaging under the eyeballs from a forced suffocation.
Right. Okay.
That is. Remember, listening, you're the fact checker. That is off the top of my head something I seem to remember reading a long time ago.
Plausible, to be fair.
But there's usually, it's very rare they can't give a cause of death.
So they'd know. But it wouldn't be obvious to a paramedic turning.
No, they wouldn't be checking for that sort of stuff. They'd just be looking at, can we help this guy? Is he still breathing? How long's he been dead?
So rather than coshing him over the head or poisoning him, or I'm just thinking, suffocated him.
Yeah.
Once he's unconscious, cut his wrist, throw a few pills in him.
Yeah, force the pills down his throat. But then again, had they forced the pills down his throat already because he'd regurgitated most of them, unless the coroner was lying.
Oh, that's always a possibility.
But then again, they're saying that on examination there was the equivalent of a fifth of one tablet. So had they forced the stuff down him?
Apparently there wasn't enough tablets, was there, to kill him?
No, it was a fifth of a lethal dose. Yeah, that's right.
Or maybe he just had a really pathetic attempt on his own life and got there with the knife.
Yeah, but that's not just bleeding from that artery.
Devil's advocate. So hasn't that been contested as well? There are opposing. Some people say it is possible, don't they?
I'd imagine if you sever an artery, it's pretty possible you're going to bleed to death anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but this leading physician, who's a trauma surgeon, says that because it's so deep in, the muscles around it would have contracted. Your body's and your body would have basically sort of solved the problem itself. Yes, you'd have bled, but you're not looking at a massive bleed but you've been there for a long time.
What happens when you cut yourself? You don't bleed to death, do you?
Well, no,
the blood clots up.
Yeah,
it depends where you.
So if the blood flow slows down enough, it will clot.
Yeah.
Especially exposed to the open air. But at the same time, he was there a long time. But then the paramedics aren't finding the blood they'd expect to find. Were they looking for sprays, or as they said, maybe it was under the body?
Well, it shows
because they're not moving the body. That's the coroner's job.
Yeah.
Once the So was it under the body? Had it soaked into the earth is another possibility. He's in the woods. He's been there a long time.
Could be.
It's all plausible.
Perhaps if there was an inquest, we might have found out.
Yes.
Show us the pictures. Well, no, I don't want to see them actually. Tell me what's in the pictures.
Well, Kelly must have had an intimate knowledge of human biology and the fact that he was a microbiologist and an authority on biological weapons. So he must have. He knows how these things affect the body. He knows.
So like the Terminator, he has deep files, detailed files on human anatomy. Makes him a more efficient killer.
Exactly.
You know how chemical weapons work. Yeah, you must have a very good understanding to be a world's expert.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
A government chosen expert.
Apparently, severing the ulnar artery is not does not automatically lead to a fatal loss of blood, apparently, but Kelly is known also to have an aversion to swallowing tablets. If his suicide was premeditated, why bring a small, blunt, concave-edged knife to do a tricky slicing job along with the tablets? And, if it was a spontaneous act, why did he bring 30 pain-killing tablets with him on his daily constitutional? It's a valid question.
Well, he took him with him. I'm just devil's advocating. Took him with him to take out. He didn't want to kill himself at home because he didn't want his wife to find the body.
See, I'm with you to a point, because the whole laughing and joking thing with members of the committee after he'd been sort of taken off the prime suspect list.
Yeah.
You never know when someone's going to kill themselves.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean it's
You
not
can be
solid
they could be
evidence.
laughing and joking out with their friends the night before, and then the next day, that's it.
Yeah, it's not as if he's going to be there at the inquiry going, oh yeah, I'm really not coping with any of this, and I think tomorrow probably going to do myself in.
Yeah.
That's if I get through today. See you later then, lads. He's going to try and I don't know. You're right though. Human psychology, it's complex.
It is very complex.
That's not solid evidence.
Look at us.
But I think when you add it to, in one of the documentaries, it had his close friends that were talking to him, and he was stressed apparently about all this pressure and stuff, but
Understandably.
not suicidal. He was more defiant than anything. But who knows?
But the thing is, this comes down to, let's say he did talk to Gilligan, the journalist,
Yeah.
and he did, but maybe he didn't say that they'd sexed it up. I mean, this is the thing. Someone, maybe not Dr. Kelly, said they'd sexed this up.
Yeah,
He was just given as a prime suspect.
He was
Scapegoat.
A sacrificial lamb, as it were.
Yeah.
Maybe they knew his mental health wasn't great. I mean, he'd already, apparently one of the things was that he cut his left arm with his right hand, but apparently his right arm was considerably weaker due to a horse riding accident years before, and apparently he couldn't carry things for very long with his right hand. A friend said they'd struggled to watch him cut into a steak with a knife in his right hand. So
That's some more sort of suspect evidence.
But it's probably better for wanking, so it might feel more like something else.
you somebody to manage it for as long, you have to make it a quickie.
Bless him.
Have to finish off with it.
What does Han Beadle wank with?
Oh!
He's probably like, it looks massive in this one.
Jamie Beadle, famous little-handed man. If anyone that doesn't know. Known prankster, bless him.
Maybe they're laughing at that one, I think.
Watch out. Beatles about. Simpler times they were.
Do you guys remember the UFO sketch one?
I can't remember.
Basically, they put this fake UFO in this woman's garden, and he came at the top of it dressed as an alien. And he was like, hello, and she's like, would you like a cup of tea? And he was like, a famous one, and eventually revealed it was all a hoax.
The Americans, it was like Candid Camera, wasn't it?
Yeah, effectively, yeah.
Oh, bless. Do you know I never noticed the little hand at the time?
No, did
I didn't know.
He always used to
Until I
cover
read
it
his
over his other hand, though.
Ah, did he?
Yeah.
It was until I read his autobiography. Still got it, I think.
Why did you do that?
Well,
My mate bought it to me as a present.
he was
Oh,
essentially,
really?
actually, he wasn't just your mate, he was your future brother-in-law at the time.
It was, yeah.
Did he buy it you ironically?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. But you actually read it.
Well, I read a bit of it.
Is it on like page 1? He's like, I was born with a little
Photos. No, I don't know. There are photos in the middle, but I don't know if there's any of his hand. Can't remember.
Fuck, well.
If you're an American listener,
Or anyone, or an Iranian listener.
or an Iranian listener, Google Jeremy Beadle.
That's Beadle, I think.
Thank me later.
Or send him an abusive Facebook message.
No, don't do that.
He won't read it, he's dead.
Is he dead?
Yeah, Jeremy Beadle is.
Fuck
I
off.
don't know, Gaz.
Sorry.
Gaz is
Jeremy Beadle dead.
He's been dead years, mate.
Oh, fuck.
At least 5.
Well, at least he didn't touch any kids.
That's
Do you know what I mean?
No,
If he touched it with his little hand, would it be paedophilia?
Guys,
With a child hand?
we're breaking the no-nonce policy again, remember? You got 5 months left to run.
I don't think that would stand up in court, would it?
I think it would.
There'd definitely be an inquiry on that one.
In some universities, use that as a defence in a paedophile kangaroo court.
Anyway, enough
It
of
was my
nonsense.
little hand, you see.
Enough nonsense.
It wasn't a nonce anyway,
No, it wasn't. Allegedly.
as far as we know.
It might have been. We don't know.
Back to Dr. Kelly. So, as if there were not enough mystery surrounding the suicide, it became apparent during the Hutton inquiry there were other major discrepancies. The volunteers who found Dr. Kelly's body said he was sitting or slumped against a tree when they discovered him. But in his evidence, DC Coe of the Thames Valley Police stated Kelly was flat on his back and away from the tree. The volunteers swore the knife, an unopened bottle of Evian and a watch were not present when they were there, but these items had appeared next to the body by the time DC Coe left the scene.
DC Co-conspirator.
Well, there, actually, fuck yeah. Oh, that's a bit. Maybe he was MI5.
Editing a bum bum bum.
So, as any viewer of a TV crime will know, most solved cases are so because of the work of the forensics people. CSI. Anyone ever watch CSI?
I watched a bit of the New York one.
Oh shit. Miami was the best.
I did see a few of them.
As you
My
know,
ex was into it, but
Vegas was good when Grissom was in it. But
it was
Horatio
the same ending. It was all the same ending. The criminal, yeah, they get him in where they interrogate him.
The interrogation
and he
room.
confess.
Because they've got the forensics on him at that point. He's like, oh, let's cut a deal then.
But they always confess at the end.
The worst thing was, if it was a rich guy who'd done it, they'd let him cut a deal. If it was a really like some skag dealer, he'd just go to prison. He wasn't allowed to cut a deal.
That's the reality of the way the system is, though, to be fair. It just is. You can get away with drug dealing if you've got loads of money.
Well, that's true. Escobar did for a long time.
Pablo.
Have you seen the Pablo Escoburger?
Yes, I have.
It's got a little line of white stuff on the top. Not cocaine. It's like sauce or something.
It'd be awesome if it was. No, because then you wouldn't want to eat the burger, actually. But yeah, it's cool, but some people are up in arms about it, aren't they?
Yeah, they were happy.
They're up in arms about everything. Everyone's an extremist in this
This is
day
true.
and age. So back to Mr. Kelly.
Yeah. So apparently there was surprisingly little forensic evidence forthcoming.
That's
For
funny.
instance, whose fingerprints are on the knife?
I don't know.
Nobody's.
Oh.
Is the answer to that?
Well, he wiped his fingerprints. Didn't he?
Apparently so. Was any foreign DNA detected in the blood samples? Was the watch found beside Dr. Kelly broken or intact? And if broken, what time did it show? What were the last calls made to him on his mobile phone? None of these questions were asked during the inquiry and no answers were volunteered. In March 2005, the Lib Dem MP, Liberal Democrats, Norman Baker resigned his front bench job expressly to investigate the circumstances surrounding Kelly's death. A year later, he published his findings on his own website and contributed to a BBC TV programme, Conspiracy Files.
I watched that one.
I think we all watched that one, did we?
Yeah, it was a good documentary.
The BBC one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yes,
yeah.
I did drop off for 10 minutes in between, but it was this afternoon I'd just eaten.
Well.
You know, I was tired.
Yeah.
There's
It's on
a theme
YouTube.
here.
If,
I was full of beef.
Up your ass. What?
No, in my stomach.
Oh, okay.
Just to say the documentary's on YouTube.
It is on YouTube.
Yeah,
Yes.
not the beef.
Not the beef isn't. I didn't record myself and put it on YouTube.
Coming soon.
Coming soon, Benny. Just
Benny's
did it.
beef.
So Baker voiced his serious doubts over the conclusion of the inquiry, not only on the basis of the medical evidence and the suicide verdict, but also concerning the irregularities in the actions of the coroner, the choice of pathologist, the actions of the police at the beginning of the investigation, and why Lord Hutton in particular was picked to head the inquiry. Because he's a mate of Blair's, that's why.
Well, he knew he'd do the job, didn't he? He knew he'd keep it all
Yep.
exactly how he wants it to run.
And think about it, it's a warning to others. This is what you do if you step out of line.
Yeah.
You talk to the BBC, you're going to get suicided.
Dead.
So, the conduct of the police force is the most puzzling fact that has come to light that Operation Mason, as it was named, began at 2:30 p.m. on the 17th of July.
Operation Mason.
About 9 hours before Dr. Kelly's family reported him missing for an hour and a half, before he left his home to go for a walk. So 9 hours before they reported him missing, and an hour and a half before he was going home for his walk, left his home for his walk, the police launched an operation.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Quite how the police knew what was going to happen, they're not willing to divulge. Nor are they willing to say why they found it necessary to erect a 45-foot high antenna in Kelly's garden.
Of course, because it's an inquiry, they don't have to answer, do they?
Turn Mrs. Kelly out of her home in the middle of the night for some considerable time while search dogs are put to the house. And according to Baker, one of the most senior police officers in the country, on being consulted, was at a loss to why either action would have been required.
Well,
Operation Mason.
they got
Red flags already, mate.
Yeah.
Red flags already.
They
Because
gotta
you've
make
been
sure-
obsessed with this communism business, aren't you? There's always a red flag with you, Mike.
Well, they've got to be sure there's no evidence
Certainly
of the
is.
scene, because I reckon they did him at the house.
Red flags flying high here.
Or if they didn't do him at the house, they took him from the house. Or maybe they knew
I think they did him in the woods. I think maybe he got a text message saying, you know, we need to talk, come to go on your walk, I'll meet you on the way. That way how it's done. It's not...
Or
Because it's
they're
not...
making sure
He
there was
goes...
no evidence.
Well, he
of
goes...
what-
Well, the thing is, he goes that way every day.
Yeah, so they could jump
So
him
it's
along
like...
the way.
Well, no, I think he met him.
Alright,
We need to talk, come and meet me on your walk.
But what I'm thinking is, why were they so interested in his house? Did something happen there, or were they concerned with what he had there in terms of paperwork?
Yeah, what's he got there?
Um,
What's he got there and what's coming in and out of that house on a... Because they're putting a tower up in the garden. They're intercepting every single thing coming in of that house. There's a fence
somebody
around
else
there.
might have bugged it.
Is
Maybe
it?
he was a mole.
Maybe he was a mole. It's a possibility. Maybe he'd been turned by the Iraqis. You don't
Yeah.
know, I suppose.
Could have been an Iraqi insurgent. No, that's
Well,
not
no, maybe they
okay.
just paid him enough money and he decided to report back that, hey, they haven't got all this stuff, you know. I mean, remember, we're in 2003. We know now for a fact there is no WMDs.
Yeah.
Or if there is, they're really fucking well hidden.
Yeah.
But back in 2003, the subject was still up for debate. So, had Kelly been turned by Iraqi intelligence? There's a conspiracy theory. Yeah, they've got nothing. Don't worry about them. Don't invade them. They've got nothing.
But we found nothing.
Yeah, but then.
We went there, we found nothing.
That's a valid
Yeah, but
point.
this is 2003. We hadn't invaded at this point.
No, but when we went there, we found nothing.
Yeah, but
He
maybe
had,
they
he
still-
had stuff. At some
Nothing-
point.
Yeah, at some point it was already been dismantled and not used anymore. There was nothing.
Well,
Literally, there was nothing.
I was throwing it out there as an interesting fucking counter. I like the fact he might have been turned by Iraqi intelligence. Was he a double agent?
It could have been, and they did us a favour by doing him.
They are mentioned actually as being some of the suspects. The Iraqi intelligence services.
Oh, maybe they did him. And maybe that's why our people were so interested in the house, because they're like, fuck, some Iraqi foreign agents have been in here. Under our noses, we need to sweep this whole fucking
Yeah, I
area.
just can't see the Iraqi intelligence outwitting the British.
Why? You know, it's
Who's to say? I mean,
we could have a lazy day.
You've got an intelligence service. I mean, but these guys just come into the country on student visas. I mean,
See, Brexit
actually,
stop all
they're
that.
saying that we are kind of. No, But then again, the Iraqis haven't got to send people over. They could have already have assets in country. They could have some Iraqi immigrants in Britain who do the odd job for them now and again, even if it's just maybe sometimes it's just being somewhere to look at something.
Yeah. Or
You know?
kill an old man in the woods.
I can't imagine there's many in this country that we don't know about.
Well, that's the point of spying, Mike, is that no one knows you're there.
Yeah, okay, I'm just
I
saying
was
it's
gonna
a
say-
possibility that it could have been. Maybe he wasn't killed by our government. Maybe somebody else did him.
The French are
It's
mentioned.
possible.
The French intelligence service are mentioned.
Or did
Because
they have a
one of
beef
the-
with him?
No, but you can't do it, so you palm the job off to your allies
Oh,
who do it for you,
Yeah.
and then you
That's
go,
why we used to send all them criminals into Libya to get
that's
tortured.
right, and then Gaddafi didn't
So
want
we
to do
could, we
it.
don't do torture. We're British upstanding. We send them to Libya though, our ally. They'll do the torturing for us.
The Geneva Convention forbids torture. Libya aren't in the Geneva Convention. Oh,
But of course the US just did it anyway.
before you know
Called
it, you've got jumper cables on your gonads and you're singing like a fucking bird.
You're like a canary. But of course the US just called it enhanced interrogation techniques.
Waterboarding.
So
Yes.
that's how they got around it.
Apparently waterboarding is like the worst fucking thing, apparently.
yeah, you feel like you're drowning.
Mm.
Lovely.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen enough action movies. After I've been waterboarded, I'd break my buns, flip up
course.
to my feet, kick up like a piece of the broken chair with my foot, catch it in my hand, use it as a stabbing implement to take out
Obviously.
4 of the first 7
Then grab
guards.
a gun.
Grab a gun. Take
Actually, no,
out
you've
the
already
last
used
3.
one of the guards as a human shield to block the guy with the gun.
Yeah, I've done a few backflips,
Yeah.
kicks. You know me.
Yeah, obviously.
And remember at the time all this torture. What was one of the biggest TV shows? 24.
Oh,
Is
fuck,
that
yeah.
torture,
It's
is
a
it?
bit of a psyop, isn't it? Of course it is. He tortured every scene.
I've never watched it. Surprisingly.
You
You
know,
know,
torture
I've never
there was
actually- I've never watched 24.
Yeah, he either tortured somebody or was tortured every episode.
Can I be honest?
What?
I don't like Keith Sutherland.
I do. I think he's alright.
Yeah.
Well,
But do you know my favourite?
I tried to watch that fucking thing he was in on Netflix where he was a president, lone survivor.
No, I never
Oh, it
seen
was,
it.
it was.
yeah, but if it's shit, then he's gonna look shit, innit? But you know, you got the fucking what was that?
My favourite
What was that
torture
vampire
scene.
film, Lost Boys?
Uh,
It was awesome, that.
That's a
Yeah, that was like a very early role.
How
Gun
about
guns.
when James
Yeah.
Bond gets his balls hit with the rope, right?
Yeah.
And then he says, and then he starts laughing. And he's like, it's something funny. And he's like, you just. No, that's it. He's hitting him in the. To set it up for the listener if you haven't seen it, he's in a chair with the
Casino
bottom cut
Royale.
out. Yeah, the bottom of the chair's cut out. He's got a massive rope with a huge solid
Yeah.
knot in it.
I
Yeah.
remember this.
And he's thrown it up into his bollocks, right? And he's already been beaten to shit. And he's like, oh, I've got an itch. James Bond said I've got an itch. And he smashes him in the balls with the rope. And then he starts giggling. And he's like, it's something funny. And he's like, you just tickled my balls.
That's hard as fuck.
Fucking
In real
hell,
life,
just-
there's no way to fucking do that.
Oh, but
I'd have been
I
squealing
love
after the first one, if not before.
Just the thought of it, but I'd scream like a pig. I would.
it. Daniel Craig, James Bond is awesome.
He is.
I love
to be
him.
fair. Sadly, there's only one more to go.
At least he's going to do it though, I like it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
do you know what
called,
though? What-
Shatterhand.
What did you think of the last one though? Slight
Actually, no, I
tangent.
haven't seen
We'll be quick.
Spectre. I
It's a
haven't
bit
seen
weird,
it.
I'll be honest. I watched it the other night with Leona and I was like, I obviously love it because I love him in that character.
I was going to watch it, but
Batista's good. in
I've
it.
seen it. Yeah, I didn't like it much.
It's kind of weird, isn't it?
I did.
Strange.
I mean, I loved Casino Royale.
Yeah, I love that.
I like Quantum of Solace because
It was
you,
alright.
you have to understand it's Casino Royale 2
Yeah.
and it's a revenge movie.
It was dead
Direct
short, though, wasn't it?
follow-on.
Yeah, it's not long, but it's a revenge movie.
Yeah,
it's basically the hour and a half they wanted to do extra on Casino Royale.
Yeah.
But it's just I like it. I don't think it's great, but I do like it.
And
And then-
Skyfall.
Skyfall,
That's
I
great.
love Skyfall. I love all the old nod backs in Skyfall because the DB5, the original tune comes out, and you're like, yeah, I like that. That's cool.
I like me some James Bond.
I do like a bit of Bond, although I'll never rate Roger Moore, I'm afraid.
Oh,
I
he's
did
the
when I was a
best.
kid.
He's my favourite.
Yeah,
It's one of my favourite films
but
as well.
now I
like
can't
Moonraker.
watch one now though. I try and watch one now, I'm like, fucking hell. It's like a 70-year-old doddering about. Like, when I was a kid, I didn't notice.
No,
but like, now,
He had
I'm
a
like,
he blatantly had a
fuck
corset
me.
on.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
I guess it was just my era. I grew
If
up
he
in.
punched someone, his fucking shoulder would snap off.
There's no way he was beating up Jaws, was
Yeah,
there?
no way. You could
But
beat up
weirdly,
anyone.
But weirdly, Man with a Golden Gun is probably my favourite Bond movie, and that's more. But I think it's more Christopher Lee's in it.
Yeah, okay.
He makes it rather than it's like the Dark Knight scenario. It's everyone's favourite because Heath Ledger's in it.
Well,
I like the Welsh one.
Oh, Timothy Dalton. He's fucking ace, actually.
He was alright.
He was underrated. At the time, it was a bit too... It works now, the Daniel Craig gritty James Bond, but at the time, I think it was a bit too...
I mean, the guy got hit by a shark in one of his films.
Like License
He should have done it Welsh, though.
No.
Go on, Gaz.
The name's Bond. James Bond. That wasn't very good.
It won't work.
That wasn't very Welsh.
No. So, anyway, I'll carry on.
Below 7.
Yeah, it's not working for me.
It's a scene Alan Party, didn't it?
Oh, he's got a new series coming out.
Yeah.
Never liked him.
Oh, he's awesome, man.
I don't find Steve Coogan funny.
I do. But hey, let's not tangent again. Sorry, listener. But we love James Bond.
Norman Baker, the former Liberal MP, reserves particular scepticism for the choice of Lord Hutton to head the inquiry and the part Tony Blair played in the decision. In spite of being on a jet somewhere between Washington and Tokyo when formally advised of Dr. Kelly's death, Blair decided on an inquiry and appointed Lord Brian Hutton as its head even before the journey was over.
Saint Blair.
St. Tony. Parliament, perhaps rather conveniently, had adjourned for the summer, and the appointment was made on the advice of Lord Falconer and, Baker suspects, Peter Mandelson. He's a slimy piece of shit.
Yes.
The man they chose had no experience of chairing any other public inquiry, distinguished career, plenty of history upholding the views of the government of the day, so he's on our side. He's never done anything like this before, but he's always voted with us.
Right. Well, clearly, there's something fishy going on, isn't there?
You'd argue that. Yeah.
You think Tony ordered it?
Well, he has to. He's the man at the top, isn't he? Or is that an MI5 decision?
No, Blair would make the decision. He's over the government, therefore he's got the head of MI5 coming to ask his permission to stuff.
What's the term they use?
Terminate with extreme prejudice.
No, they don't.
Oh, I love that term.
Something ambiguous, isn't it? Like, take him out of the equation or something, I don't know.
You erase him.
Take him out of the equation. No, you just say, just
you
do it.
eliminate him.
No, it's something ambiguous what they say. Incapacitated or
Could
something.
you tickle the target, please?
Give him a hand job. Could you hand job the target, please?
Could you gently tap the bottom of the target?
Would you mind maybe
Say,
taking you out for dinner and a show?
Would you fag him?
Shot to the head.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just blow his head off? Oh, because it had to look like suicide, didn't it? How do you think they killed him then?
Well, conspiracy theorists believe...
Injection.
Yeah.
But they haven't released the reports, have they, of the toxicology?
I don't know, but they'd have something that could be untraceable, isn't it? But there's surely there's something untraceable.
Yeah, you'd have thought so. You'd have thought so, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there's some concoction that can't be traced.
So maybe not.
It might be something like really blatantly obvious as well. You know, it's just stuff that wouldn't be looked for in a toxicology report.
Weed killer.
That's pretty short, Mike. So yeah,
some kind of tasteless, odorless drug.
I mean, if anyone's got something, then it's like the Western intelligence and the Russian intelligence.
Heart attack gun.
Some kind of heart attack gun.
A sonic weapon.
Sonic weapon.
It could have been fired from the helicopter that we'll hear about later.
The brown note.
I don't think that would kill him.
No, Mike. I don't think noticed.
And
but
the paramedics would have noticed.
He shot
there wasn't much blood, but there was
shit
an awful lot of shit. Shit in the trees, shit on the leaves.
I just love the idea of a brown note. I don't know what it is, but I want to fire a brown note to a group of people and watch them just squirt
Hasn't
everywhere.
it been proven to be...
I don't.
Not true.
No, alien technology, Gaz. It's gonna happen.
Oh, there's no.
They can turn me with a stone. They can turn me with a stone. They can turn me with. They can make people shit themselves.
Yeah, but some people will just not let the fact that they've shit themselves stop them from fighting. So
What if they're squirting just constant diarrhea? That's gonna incapacitate anybody. Intense stomach cramps and diarrhea. You're not fighting with that.
I don't want to live in that world. What's wrong with you?
I just want to fire one once.
Well,
That's
that
all
bit
I
of the web
ask.
sketch in it with the bassoon that makes you shit yourself.
That's it. I think what's it?
Tells embarrassing truths.
That's it.
flute.
The flute of embarrassing truth, and then the accordion that makes you shit yourself.
Why would you want to play those things?
Whoever you play that would tell an embarrassing truth.
Well, oh, okay.
Like one of them was picks his arse and sniffs his fingers or something.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
yeah.
my life.
He finds a smell erotic.
Yeah.
Oh my life.
But then you have the tuba
The
that makes
tuba.
the tuba that makes you shit yourself, and he blows a tuba at you, and you shit yourself.
Wow.
It's to get you away.
Sounds fantastic. Yeah, back to the death of Dr. Kelly.
Yeah. Conspiracy theorists believe Kelly had been labelled a loose cannon, and as such a threat to the stability of the government. If Britain lost Blair, Europe lost an important ally in its struggle for greater political and economic union. Blair was quite the EU guy, wasn't he? Michael Shumington, a barrister and intelligence services expert who also acted for the Kelly investigation group, claimed he was told Kelly had been assassinated. Speaking in an interview with Canadian broadcaster Alex Jones, is this Canadian?
What? No, he's not.
No, he's not. But maybe a different Alex Jones.
Not
This
saying
is
Alex
2000. No,
Jones.
this is 2004. Alex wasn't big then. Was
Nah.
he said, "Quote: Within 48 hours of the murder, I was contacted by a British intelligence officer who told me Kelly had been murdered. Now the source told me he'd done some digging and discovered that he didn't name names. We discovered that he didn't no names." But he discovered that it had been known in Whitehall prior to July 17th that Kelly was going to be taken down. Sorry, that quote was all over the fucking place. It was a badly spoken quote.
Okay.
Not by me, by the guy that said it.
Alright.
Shumington went on to explain that clever governments get the secret services of their allies to do their dirty work for them, and that Kelly's death bore all the hallmarks of the job by the DGSE, and this is the French equivalent of MI6. The Direction Générale de la Sécurité Extérieure, or something like that.
Okay.
Sounds like a Harry Potter fucking.
But it does. The French equivalent of MI6. The tablets found in Kelly's pocket would have been a cover. He would have actually been killed by a lethal injection of dextropropoxyphene,
Oh, God.
which is the active ingredient of coproximol, and the muscle relaxant oh man. Fucking drug names. Just give him a simple name like muscle relaxant number 5.
Well,
give him a scale.
you don't have to
Muscle
say the
relaxant
real
number
name.
5.
A little bit of coproximol in my life.
Succinciclylene. There we go. Cloline. Whatever. Fuck it. It's a drug.
Moving on.
Anyway, that is the favourite method of the French intelligence service to murder people. His wrist was clumsily cut to disguise the needle's puncture mark.
Oh, is that where you would put in a lethal injection to the wrist?
No, it's just into an artery.
It's just in the
It's
movies.
just a minor artery, but
In
still
the-
into an
there you go.
artery.
In the movies, it's always the neck, though, isn't it?
It is, but if you want to disguise it a little bit, you know, play a bit clever.
But the movies don't lie.
They do a little bit.
Oh. Well, I'm down for that. I definitely think that he was done in. Who by, I'm not sure. Because this is what we might need to maybe explore. What actual threat was he? So he was an expert and he spoke to the BBC. Did they now see him because he'd been exposed, he'd been public?
Well, I think what he's saying, Gaz.
Well, yeah, he's saying they're lying cunts.
They're lying cunts, yeah.
Who lied to go to war, yeah.
We haven't gone to war at this point.
No, we haven't gone to war.
Oh.
We're
So-
lying
So
to
we're
take us
going
to
in
war.
saying more.
Yeah, and it isn't just us that want the war. Fucking Americans want it
Yeah,
bad.
they did. And it was Mr. Bush.
Yeah.
Well, it was also Mr. Cheney, who was
And a bit.
sitting on the board of Halliburton, which he previously ran, who made something like oh my god, I think it was something like 30 billion to begin with out of the Iraq War, the reconstruction.
Fuck it up. So,
Plus, they also owned by the arms dealers that made the Bradley armoured fighting vehicle, which is their infantry sort of
And they
carrier,
get
and
and
they were
the
getting
oil
blown
rights.
up like there was no tomorrow.
And they
remember-
get the oil rights, aren't they?
And then they're going to get the oil rights, and
didn't
yeah,
Iraq stop using the petrodollar as well?
they were going to start
Yeah.
trade. Well, allegedly, and this is only ever sort of rumour, that they were going to start selling it in euros.
Right.
Which means that Britain would have come on board with the euro because our oil prices were under the roof if we'd have stayed with the petrodollar, meaning that Europe's now got a unified currency. And
So
it's
we
one
want him
solid
gone as
block.
well. We don't want to join the euro.
We
so
don't want the
him gone.
euro because we know the public will never accept
Yeah,
it.
so we want him gone.
So we want him gone too.
Can you imagine Tony Blair talking like...
Thing is, why is it... Sorry, go on.
Sorry, George, I've got a bit of a problem. There's this chap, bit of a professor type, bit of a doctor. He's been talking, so I don't know, it might look like maybe we can't come with you. But George, just fucking whack him. That's what we do. Do you know what I mean? And then, because he doesn't, as daft and bungling and evil, and yes, he did choose to go to war. I can't imagine Tony Blair personally. It's hard to imagine him like, kill that motherfucker. Do you know what I mean? Like, ordering individual deaths. Like, I bet he finds it weird having to...
I don't know, but these people can do it, can't they? They got one persona, the public persona, and they've got their...
Behind closed doors.
There's somebody else, haven't they? Look at Darth
Cut
Cheney.
his fucking head off.
He didn't come to power through his fucking charisma, did he?
Who?
No,
Darth
he-
Vader.
Darth Cheney.
Oh,
Darth
sorry.
Cheney.
I thought you said that. Sorry. I got
Darth
really...
Vader did.
Yeah, because he's a badass.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, obviously...
The thing is, I think the real tragedy is that no one knows whether Kelly was actually the fucking man that said about this 45-minute thing, which is the whole point of the sexed up dossier, was that some expert said that 45-minute claim is absolute bullshit. The Iraqis have got nothing like that.
Which is proven.
Which was proven. Kelly was just, because he was so expert in the field of Iraq's chemical capabilities, his name immediately was a person of interest to the intelligence services and the police and whoever else was investigating.
Where
So,
was
I think
Hans
you're
Blix?
right, Mike.
well, this is it.
I think you're right when you say as well, it's a fucking little message out there to all the other weapons experts in government.
Yeah.
Anybody who does any bit of work for the government, it's like, listen, you're gonna fucking play ball on this.
Yeah, you're
one.
expendable.
Yeah.
Your life means
Yeah, you
nothing.
work for the MOD, you support the government line. That's it. But was it even Kelly, this is my point, was it even Kelly that said that? No one knows who said it. He was effectively a scapegoat.
He could have been.
He could have been the source.
I'm thinking it's
He
probably
denied it. The Foreign Office Select Committee, after 2 days of questioning, said, "Yeah, you probably weren't the source. You're a person of interest to us still, but you probably weren't the major leak." He's just a scapegoat, isn't he? He's a Lee Harvey Oswald, to be controversial.
Patsy.
A patsy. Then was he suicided after just to make sure he didn't say anything?
Poor bastard. And we all know he was doing. They did set
He was
up the
he was
fucking
an old,
dossier.
he was an oldish, you know, he was an oldish man with a heart condition.
Yeah. Apparently, one of his last emails he sent to somebody.
Oh, I've got that quote.
Yeah, go on then.
And this is a true, apparently, allegedly, Dr. Kelly hinted at his crisis with lines. He seemed to predict his own death, saying that, quote, he would probably be found dead in the woods if the British invasion of Iraq was to go on.
Well,
Now, whether that's true or not,
yeah.
that was on the BBC documentary
Yeah.
I watched.
Mm.
Also,
So I
in one
saw
of my conspiracy books I've got here in front of me.
Do you know what I will say? What I'd like to do later in life, if I live to be about 80 or so, is for the last sort of 10 years of my life, tell everyone, just start telling everyone every day that I'm close to the truth, I'm close to something big, and if you ever find me suicide, like, it ain't me, I would never do that. You know, investigate, it's them.
Funnily
And
enough,
then
the
just
conspiracy
kill
theorist
myself.
did say that before he was recently found dead.
And then I'd just kill myself, and then just let everyone think that I was onto a big truth, maybe. And I'd be remembered as a... No? Nobody's with me?
No,
Carry on.
genuinely, there was a guy that did that recently. We featured him on Weird News. I can't remember his name, but he was a leading UFO researcher. He'd gone to some... it was a massive UFO convention in Poland. And he'd basically turned around and said to people, if anything happens to me, I didn't kill myself. I'd been
He
suicided.
stole my idea.
And they found him, he was sleeping on someone's sofa, because obviously he's not a major name on the UFO community, but he's up and coming. So he was sleeping on someone's sofa, and they found him with like this black goo coming out of his mouth.
Right.
And they took him to hospital and everything, and he just died. And it was
I remember it now, yeah. It's in
Yeah.
Poland, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
They're still investigating that, but not an inquest investigation.
Yeah.
He gooed himself.
Have we got anything left on David Kelly?
Really, just weird the theories. Kelly's death was not properly investigated. There were glaring omissions and conflicts of evidence. The choice of an inquiry headed by a judge rather than a coroner. Terms being drawn up at the outset by the government. The continuing unease of expert doctors and political figures willing to risk their own reputations to publicise their misgivings. All this suggests there is far more to this event than the government is willing to be open about.
What? And they're just being very coy and cloak and dagger about it.
The whole inquest thing tells you everything.
Yeah.
They didn't want it.
Well,
we need to control this story, basically.
And in 2009, so this is 6 years after, a group of British doctors, including Michael Powers, who was also a former coroner, challenged Hutton's verdict in the press, stating instead that in their view the slash on the wrist was untenable as a cause of death because the artery is small, difficult to access, and would not have allowed sufficient loss. Another group of medics read to Hutton's defence in The Guardian, asserting that Kelly's heart disease meant only a small amount of blood loss would bring death. Like the WMD case for war itself, theories and counter-theories about Kelly's death will run and run, and they will.
And they still haven't called a full coroner's inquest.
No. And Gaz, you got an article for us?
Yeah, this is from the Telegraph, and it's something that I don't think it was mentioned in the BBC documentary. I think it was in one of the independent ones I watched. That it's a good series, Requiem for the Suicided. There's reports of a mystery helicopter at the scene of Mr. Kelly's death, or close by anyway, not directly at the scene. Details released under the Freedom of Information Act reportedly disclose that the aircraft stayed on the ground for 5 minutes before leaving. According to its flight log, the helicopter, said to have been hired by Thames Valley Police, landed at Harrow Down Hill in Oxfordshire at 10:55 a.m. on July the 18th, 2003, 90 minutes after Dr. Kelly's body was found by search teams. The purpose of the flight and who was on board have not been established because details of the flight log have been heavily redacted, the Daily Mail reported.
This is email.
Well,
yeah.
Dr. Andrew Watt, who has raised doubts about the circumstances around Dr. Kelly's death, told the paper, if the purpose of the helicopter flight was innocent, one has to ask why it was kept secret.
Valid point.
Today, Thames Valley Police declined to comment on whether the force had hired the aircraft for reasons, or the reasons behind doing so, and why the flight log had apparently been redacted. A police spokesman said, we have given, as a police force, all the evidence to the Hutton inquiry. This was a full inquiry and there is nothing more to say.
I would argue that it was some high up in MI5 or MI6 to him up 90 minutes after he's been found. He's been shipped in from London.
He's got to check this has been done correctly.
Yeah, or he's just like going to formally identify it as a member of the intelligence services. This is and both, and check it's been done correctly, possibly.
Could be something fishy to it, because I mean, you don't send out a helicopter to someone who's been found dead in the woods very often, do you? Unless you're looking for an immediate murderer in the vicinity.
But he is an important person in terms of governmental
things,
so
especially at the time. He's he was in the news every single fucking day for a little brief period, wasn't he?
But it probably wouldn't land. Did it land, did they say?
Yeah, it was there.
It probably wouldn't land, would it? It'd just be scary.
Yeah, exactly. I see what you mean. If it was searching for someone,
it wouldn't land by the body. Why would it?
No. So somebody got out, had a look, did something, briefed some people, maybe.
Yeah, definitely briefed some people. Said, this is a suicide.
Yeah.
End of. You were never here. I was never here. Mm-hmm. So I was never here. This helicopter was never here. Yeah. Nothing happened. You never saw anything. And then he Men in Black flashy thinged them.
Yeah. Well, and also, where does the because we want to try and wrap this up soon, but where does the broken watch and the blade, the things that weren't seen in when the first person saw the body, where do they come into it? Were they put there to make it?
Yeah.
Look more. I don't know.
They're not really mentioned again in the Hunt report.
Yeah.
So there's stuff next to him, but no evidence was. So broken watch.
Yeah.
Well, what time did it stop? Pretty good evidence of time of death there.
Yeah.
No one seems to know. The question was never asked.
Yeah, I think.
And that's the thing. The questions weren't asked because they weren't under oath.
Exactly.
So they can lie without fear of perjury.
They control the narrative in that situation. If they don't, because I imagine a more legal proceeding, they would maybe have to display the photographs, wouldn't they, and crime scene.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah. If they're under oath, then everything would be on display. But because it's an inquiry, and Lord Hutton, who's big pals with St Tony, because he's voted every single way with the government. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it, Tony.
And don't forget...
Oh, he's got a half-arse job on it, mate. Yeah, of course. Whatever you say.
And don't forget, Tony made that call while still in the air, less than, what was the time?
Oh, it was
90 minutes, was it, or something? After
it was a couple of hours after. He was literally flying between Tokyo and Washington.
And he's already ringing up his mate going, listen, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's already... It's one of them, you know, I'd vouch for you if you needed somebody to vouch. Like, it's if you knew the shit you'd fucked up somehow and you'd... I'm going to have to cover my arse on this one.
Well, it's not even maybe covering his arse. I mean, if they've...
It's the entire government's
If they've put it out
arse,
to his allies, if the French have done it, or even, I don't know, the French... I mean, one of the things you mentioned in the book was the French hired Iraqi nationals.
I don't think that.
But
I think we possibly did it just because...
I think it was Professor Plum with a candlestick. That's my verdict.
Well, I think he was suicided. That's my professional opinion. As a broadcast
me too. It's as plain as a Bulgarian pin-up.
Voice from the dwarf. Yeah.
I think he committed suicide.
No,
Do I fuck? He's fucking guilty. He's Blair's got more fucking blood on his hands.
More of that coke proxim or whatever.
Fucking hell. It's obvious.
Yeah.
If a bunch of surgeons who deal with trauma are coming out and saying, yeah, that wouldn't have killed him. Alright?
Wasn't enough blood.
Wasn't enough blood. So the paramedics are going, yeah, alright, well, we didn't see a lot of blood. Yeah. It's an arterial wound.
No full coroner's inquest.
No details released.
No details released.
Which is normal for a murder, I believe.
Possibly.
You have a full coroner's inquest, don't you? You want to find out the cause of death.
Yeah, of course.
You'd have a trial though, wouldn't you? In the law.
Yeah. Cool. And then the coroner would bring his evidence forward and say, look, you know, I found these fingerprints on him, this in his blood.
Yeah. But
there's knife in his back.
One doctor said that the coroner's report was a complete joke. I mean, there was no fingerprints on the knife. It wasn't even checked. Or if it was checked, there was nothing there.
You'd think a high-level person he was a person of interest at the time.
It was a major police investigation.
Yeah, you'd be like, holy fuck, we need to investigate the fuck out of that knife. Who did this awful crime?
Let's hit Grissom in.
Yeah. Who killed the good doctor who was just innocently trying to tell the truth, caught between a rock and a hard place?
Obviously, not even that. He's a scapegoat.
Yeah. Well, and the poor fucker as well. Wasn't it just a case of they kept saying, somebody spoke to the BBC and he's like, oh, well, I didn't interview the BBC. Maybe it's me they're talking about.
No, he said I had lunch with him.
Yeah.
But what we spoke about wasn't this magic 45-minute deployment time. It was something completely different. And then the Foreign Affairs Select Committee clears him of being the major leak.
And that's a bit dodgy though, isn't it?
But he's still a person of interest, but he's not the major leak.
Why would a reporter just go to a weapons expert and not talk about his profession?
Well, they were, but he's saying that Gilligan, I think his name was saying that that his source had told him that 45 minutes deployment time.
What has he said about this?
Who?
Gilligan.
It's on record.
He said he isn't my source.
I think we went through it earlier, didn't we?
I can't remember.
he basically, they found out that Kelly wasn't the source.
Well,
but he could have been the source. But he couldn't have been the source.
Either way, he was.
Either way, that the whole thing is a bit dodgy.
A bit.
Pressure from the Yankee Doodle mates over there. Yeah. We love you.
Across the pond.
Our cousins.
Let's get the boys' views on this week's weird news.
Should we have a bit of weird news?
Yeah. They
I've got an article that links in nicely. Find out what Mr. Tony Blair's up to now.
Oh, well, he's fucking aged since 2003, I'll give him that.
That's what the guilt of a fucking 100,000 innocent souls.
A million.
Or million souls will do to you.
Yep.
Well, I hope that patch of Lucifer's working out for you, Tony. Please take my soul, Lucifer.
You big baldy-headed twat. Look at him with his massive fucking evil.
Oh,
Looks like Dracula.
I have been keeping up enough with politics to know what this means.
What the hell?
Tony Blair tipped to be the next to join the independent group.
Who are
Blair's wanted to come back for a while.
Who are the independent group?
The independent group are a bunch of 7 Labour MPs who decided... 8,
And 3 Conservative MPs.
3 Tories, that's right, they left the other day. And there could be another 20 more about to leave respective parties to join this independent group, which is what, Mike, centre-left? Centrist.
What Blair was, basically.
Basically,
Blair, the Blairites from Labour,
Yeah.
7 of them, 8 or 8, they left Labour.
Right.
Yeah,
to form an independent group.
But, you know, they've been voted as Labour candidates in the election. Now they're switching to this independent group,
Are you allowed to
which
do
is going
that?
to be... Well, they're allowed to do it.
They're allowed to do it,
But the moral thing is they should re-stand because they're
should call
standing
a
for something
by-election.
different now.
Yeah, exactly.
Corbyn was standing for a socialist agenda.
And all their votes that they received after Corbyn went up phenomenally.
Yeah.
They'd been in for a
increased their
couple of
majorities,
elections.
didn't
They
they?
got elected at the first election.
Yeah. So he got him in, now they're abandoning him.
Now they're abandoning him, but their majorities swelled significantly under a Corbyn manifesto than they did
Under
Can a party of 8
Miliband.
people...
a Miliband.
What could a party of 8 people really
Well,
achieve?
they've already said that they will vote with the government on certain matters.
austerity, I think.
Austerity, Brexit maybe. No, Labour, the sort of Labour coalition, the opposition coalition, let's say, are now 8 votes down. And after
this
they're already
weakens
slightly
Labour.
outnumbered anyway,
So
it
this
weakens the opposition.
So this has fucking fucked us even more, really. And
Yeah, it's knifed Labour supporters in the back
And they're
Yeah.
doing it for their own
for their own.
gain.
Yeah.
Is Diane Abbott one of them?
No, she's a Corbyn
Although she
supporter.
does need to disappear.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I
No,
like
she's
the
a
woman.
good-
I like the woman, but it's just stop putting her out for stuff. She's not good in interviews.
Doesn't
Stop putting her
talk.
out for stuff.
No,
Very
but
well.
it's horrendous the racism she
Oh, yeah,
suffered,
yeah,
and it's
it is.
blatant.
Oh, absolutely, and I do agree with that.
You
But
know, if it was a white man that came out and said something, he wouldn't get harangued like
Oh,
she did. It's
I fully
blatant.
agree. I fully agree. I do, genuinely. But she's
So-
not good in interviews. Stop putting her out.
So if Tony joins this little band of fuckheads,
Then they've got a former Prime Minister be on the back. Who, in all fairness, right, let's just throw this out there for St. Tony. If it hadn't have been for the Iraq War
yeah,
and the fuck-ups that followed after, he'd be remembered quite fondly, wouldn't he?
well, it came in under a swell of goodwill and.
I mean, the
party
NHS
times.
was
It was the
booming,
second show
So he
of
was
the-
selling it off. He was selling it off bit by bit privately still.
Well,
Okay, he did invest.
It
in
was
it.
still
It was
more heavily funded than it is
Yeah,
nowadays.
Yeah,
As
but
far
it's
as
feed
we-
with one hand and take away with the other.
Yeah,
All
but
right,
Mike,
well,
as
the
far
economy
as-
was doing well.
As far as the
Yeah.
general public was
Until the
concerned,
crash,
though,
because he over financialised the economy. Sorry,
But-
guys, talking
As
economics.
far as the general public were concerned, though, he was just a dude who posed with fucking Noel Gallagher, Cool Britannia, Spice
Yeah.
Girls. He had a guitar.
You know that swell of...
Things can only get
Yeah,
better.
Brian Cox was in that band
Can
as a
only
keyboardist.
get better. It was the second summer of love.
Now I found you.
You
Can only get. Can only get.
Yeah, I didn't really pay that much attention
Remember,
to that
it was
song.
great time.
I know it was
Yeah,
D.
Britney the
Reed.
tour is out.
Yeah.
Fresh Britain, vibrant Britain.
But you weren't thinking then
It
about
was great.
he's selling everything off.
It was great at the time.
Cool Britannia. Yeah, it was a good time.
Cool
Cool
Britannia,
Britannia, remember?
Cool
Britannia.
Britannia.
Yeah, Cool Britannia.
It was Liam Gallagher, it was Union
Spice
Jacks
Girls.
before the Union Jack was considered racist.
It's still not considered racist. It's only the fucking idiots who want you to think that.
Well,
Go home, put a Union Jack flag up and see if anyone complains. There you go. There's the fucking test for you.
they might just complain I've got a flag up, to be honest. Not what it is, right? That's quite unsightly.
Right, hang it over a window or something.
No, I look chavvy. That's the problem. I'd rather hang a Hulkamania flag out the
Well,
window.
hang that out the window so anyone complains.
I will. Nobody would complain about that. They wouldn't dare. Or
Because
God will
because I
smite
get leg
them.
dropped.
Yeah, they'll get leg drops from God. He'll smite them down. Leg drops from heaven.
But what I'm saying is that Blair, he's still remembered fondly to a point. Would people vote for him if he came
He's a
back?
war criminal, any people know.
Yeah, let's face it, Mike. The Tories been getting him for ages. He's like Tory light, isn't he?
Will he come
They
back as a
accept him,
saviour?
But he's an EU.
I don't know.
He likes the EU, Blair.
What I
He
base
brought
my,
as close as the EU.
the
so-
average man on is the average person is my parents, really. And
Oh,
Why
look,
were
they're
that
fucking
better
warehouse
back
full of them,
then?
mate.
I think they hate.
Oh, do they
I'm
still
pretty
hate
sure
him?
they hate Tony Blair.
Well, my dad hates Blair because my dad's a Tory.
I want him to come back. I feel like, don't judge me for this, but it's a bit like wrestling or anything else. Because he was always on the telly when I was young.
yeah.
I feel a bit nostalgic towards him. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like when an old wrestler from when I was a kid comes back, and yeah, they're old and they're a bit crap, but it's just nice to see him.
Yeah, but the rest of the.
I'll give you the best example.
No,
Lucky
that's true.
kids.
No, that's true. That is true. But wouldn't it be nice if he could come back as the saviour and save us, get us out of Brexit? Could he do
But
that?
he's not going to save us though, because he's going to give us more of the status quo, which has got us in this shit to begin with.
Can't he get us out of Brexit? Because
Yeah.
he likes the EU, doesn't he?
He does.
Can't he come back with this band of little fucking dipshits?
But then what?
Give his cheesy smile and say, "Hey
Yeah.
guys, guess what?"
But we stay in the
I'm
EU,
back.
and what happens? We've still got the same problems. He's like the corporate
Well,
Democrats.
the problem is austerity, not the EU.
Yeah, he's socially liberal, but he's fiscally conservative. So we'll have austerity.
We seem to be doing pretty well for a while under that Labour government at the time.
Imagine him walking out to the stage. Things can only get better.
You know
which
what?
is true. Well, it's not. They can.
Yeah,
Get,
but that
they're going to get.
is
worse.
that down to him, or is that down to the world economy, Ben?
I'm
the thing
sorry
is,
they killed
I would
all those
also
children.
argue that at the start he meant well. By the end, he was playing the whore of the military-industrial complex and the deep state. So no, I wouldn't want him back now.
I know. I don't
because
think
he's
he did. If you know anything about Labour's history, he didn't mean well.
Well, it was
You know what I
New
mean?
Labour, wasn't it? It was a move. It was, but it was. We
more
were still
moved to
better off
centre.
under that than we were now.
Well, yeah, because it's the fucking Tories.
Well, there you go. So we look
We're
back.
better fucking if we were led by a bunch of donkeys, which we are. So.
Here I come to save the day. Education, education, education. It'd be great. Imagine it. He'll come back as the saviour.
Saint Tony rising from the dead.
And his running mate comes up behind him. The
Gordon
old tag
Brown.
team. Yeah, back together on one-eyed brownie.
Oh, you know what?
The fucking Shrek from
You know what?
fucking
We
Is he going to ride on a white horse as well?
Here comes.
He's dressed like a Braveheart type and he's got a big fucking axe.
He's going to go see the
I'll
Queen.
fucking save you, Tony. That woman is a bigot. Oh, you fucked it, Gordon.
You
I
one-eyed
hope
cunt.
so.
It was going so well.
You know what?
Oh, that was a PR disaster, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, bless
I
him.
felt sorry for him because he couldn't smile. He couldn't physically smile. He was that dour and Scottish. He couldn't
Yeah.
He
smile.
couldn't do fuck all.
And he had one eye.
Yeah. And he looked like he smelt funny.
Of onions.
Yeah, just a bit.
He had a bit of an oniony thing about
Yeah,
him.
he looked like a science teacher
Yeah.
with no social life.
We don't need to read the rest of this article. I think we can just read
Yeah,
it dissected, to be fair.
Tony, come back and save us.
Either come back and save us or
Save.
fuck off into the sunset.
Yeah.
I don't mind which one, but...
Come back and make up for all the dead children by saving this mess Britain's in. I mean, it won't quite make up for all the dead children, karmically speaking, but it's a start.
I'll forgive you for a bit.
Yeah, come on,
I'll give you a
Tony.
couple of months of forgiveness.
He should
Come
be in
on,
fucking
Tony.
Hague. No, he should be in the Hague.
So you think he should be getting hung for war
I
crimes?
didn't say hung. It's hanged anyway.
He's hung.
I'm saying he should be on trial for war crimes.
Right, well.
Hang him high.
And whatever the jury decide, they decide.
Okay, well, not if it's our promise, Mike.
Anyway, move on, shall we?
Education, education. Thank you, Tony. I'm
So, all
educated.
3 Pagan Saints tonight.
Well, all three of us are quite
And we
educated.
link from Tony Blair into the next article.
Gateway to Hell discovered in cave with hundreds of anti-witch marks lining the walls. I did see this week.
Oh, Lord almighty.
The markings sought to protect from evil spirits are found on walls and ceilings of the caves at Cresswell Crags on the border between Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire. You like Derby, do you, Mike?
Sheep shaggers.
Mike's a Nottingham Forest fan. Doesn't like Derby. An unprecedented number of anti-witch marks have been found in caves and a limestone gorge in the Midlands, experts have said. The marks are said to prevent evil spirits rising from the underworld, and there are hundreds of them carved on walls and ceilings of the caves at Cresswell Crags. It's thought to be the largest collection of its kind in one place in the UK. Witches' marks, or... Oh, fuck me. Not that. Apotropaic? I had no idea. They're marks on the Greek word... to turn away.
How pissed are you?
I'm not that pissed, I just can't read Greek, mate.
Okay.
Anyway, they're most commonly found in historic churches and houses, near doorways, windows and fireplaces to protect the inhabitants from evil spirits.
Wow.
It's hardly a gateway to hell.
I wouldn't say
I
so.
don't think they've misled me on the
I think that's a
article
bit of a leap.
headline there.
Do you know what I mean? It could be like, you know, it's just a graffiti wall, isn't it? Gateway to hell.
It's what people believed in witches. They, you know, they did that shit. That's what they did.
Some
Was that
people
thing.
do think that it is graffiti.
I think it's a hoax.
I think, yeah, it was drawn there. I don't disagree with the historical thing, but at the same time, I think it's that superstition at the time. They thought that worked, so they did it a lot.
It's hardly a gateway to hell.
It's hardly a gateway to hell.
It's
And that's why I said I saw that article and read it.
13,000 years old, though. It's quite impressive.
Yeah.
The marks are probably saying we used to have flying machines and like lasers and shit, but floods and stuff. Be warned. Treat the earth well.
Yeah, all right. We'll get on to ancient civilizations at some point. I'm sure, Gaz.
Me too. And you'll see how right I am.
Indeed. I actually, to a point, do agree with it.
Good. Got aliens in it as well.
Exactly. So you know my slut
I don't
for
believe
aliens.
that bit as much as the but anyway.
Go then. Last bit of weird news.
Last bit.
Okay. Man dates cockroach for a year, confessing he fantasised about the insect sex and shrinking to her size, but ate her when she died.
Oh my god.
Okay. The
Tragic
25.
tale.
One man's love of insects became both creepy and crawly after admitting he dated a cockroach called Lisa for over a year, fantasising about having sex with her. But the relationship took a dark turn when Lisa died, and her, quote, partner ate her remains.
Well, when two become one.
Yuta Shinohara claims to have dated his pet cockroach Lisa.
It was his first love.
It was his first love, but he ate her when she died.
Fuck, this man needs to get Tinder or Plenty of Fish or something.
Despite claiming the relationship was just platonic, Yuta Shinohara, 25, owned up to fantasising about having sex with his six-legged
Oh,
partner.
you sick fuck.
He either imagined himself to be insect-sized or for Lisa to be human-sized.
Oh, right,
Oh, you don't want a
human-sized
fucking
cockroach.
5'5" tall cockroach.
Ah! Ew, just the thought of it. No.
Yeah.
Well, this guy needs fucking.
That's it, really.
He needs. This might sound a
Psychological
bit.
help.
Well, it might sound a bit fascist, but I think he needs to be sort of shot in the back of the head, or at least.
I won't go that far. Psychological help.
No, what's it
It's not
called?
in anybody. Leave him. He's
What?
fine.
Not in anyone.
No, Mike, he's fantasising about having sex with
Yeah.
cockroaches.
Next thing, it's a murder spree.
Is it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
He's on the scale.
Yeah,
already.
that's...
What's it called where you can't have babies anymore? Sterilise him. That's it. Just do that to him. I don't think anyone's going to sleep with him based on his behaviour.
Well, no, guys, you can still kill.
Yeah, that's true. Kill him. Shoot him.
Chop his hands off.
I think just lock him up.
Chop his head off.
Put him in a mental institution. In a nice padded cell.
He's not in anybody. Leave him alone.
He's not, but it's what happens after, isn't it? This is an escalation.
Is
This-
it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
keep an eye on them.
he's eating her when she's dead. What happens when he... What happens the next woman what happens the next thing he falls in love with when it's a woman?
Yeah.
What if he kills a live human woman and then he kills her
You're
and
making a lot of
eats her?
assumptions here, Leaps.
It's escalation, Mike.
The core.
Thought crimes. Thought crimes.
All killers, my friend. It's escalation.
That's it. Thought crimes.
Oh, fuck off, you liberal hippie. It's escalation. Lock you up in a mental asylum. I'm not... hang on. Gas said shoots you in the back of the head. I'm the one for locking up and treating him and calling me a Nazi.
I'm not Nazi, I'm just psychopath. Just kidding.
He wasn't arguing with you, were.
Would you forget that part? Why would you argue with him? I'm going the more humane therapy. You're going, well, just let the potential serial killer kill and eat more people. We'll catch him one day.
Maybe not shoot him in the head, just slit his throat and let him bleed out.
Oh!
Hang him upside down, slit his throat. What a fuck a cockroach do, yeah? One less in the gene pool. Polluting it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that all got a bit Nazi, didn't it?
They get a bit eugenicsy.
Don't call me a eugenicist.
Did go a bit Mengele-esque there, my friend. It was,
No, it's something to do with genes. It's just that he wants to fuck cockroaches, so I don't want him alive anymore. No, I'm joking. Look, he's fine. Like you said, just give him some medicine. If you've got a prized bug collection, don't let him anywhere near
no,
it.
definitely not.
If
If you've
see
got
him,
some dried butterflies on the wall, don't invite him over for a party.
and look, I'll be honest with you, if I ever take the kids to the park and he's there with his bits out rubbing butterflies on them, I will stab
Smearing
him
his genitals in some kind of
in slugs.
nectar to attract insects.
I'll stab him. I'm just saying.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, he's got a right to live, but nobody's doing that. Stop trying to. Oh man, imagine a human-sized cockroach terrifies me because they're horrible as they are. Insects, I despise insects. They're so
6-foot cockroach.
because they're not like mammals. They're so alien. They might as well be from outer space, aren't they? Insects. They're horrible.
Yeah.
They're skeletons on the outside. They're fucking weird. All twitchy and.
Loads of eyes.
And imagine the noise it would make if it was human-sized.
Yeah, that chittering.
Ah. No.
About the bugs in Starship Troopers when they're gearing up to attack.
Not cool, man. So this guy,
They're like the little ones that go under the.
Oh yeah, the little.
The brain bug,
little-
but obviously bigger.
Yeah.
Here's a question though: why did this fucker think to tell the paper about it? It could be completely made up, couldn't it?
It could be. It's in the sun.
Remember-
It's also set in Japan, and
Can I
you know,
please?
as much as I love the Japanese, and I do love the Japanese, they're a bit weird sexually.
Yeah. Well,
Let's just throw that out there. Would we
Yeah, and can we
go in
remember-
concert with that?
do we remember, chaps, that I don't know if we ever told the audience, but I emailed the Sun and told them that the ghost of Winston Churchill had caused me to lose my job, and I was actually contacted by a journalist who wanted the story, but I chickened out and couldn't be asked to go through with it. But they were interested. The ghost of Winston
Yeah, of
Churchill.
course they would be.
I mean, for fuck's
Yeah.
sake. So
You should have gone through with it. You should have done your
I know.
dildo one as well. A bag of dildos.
What you should
You
say
still
is
got
that
the
you,
picture?
We need to clarify that. It was a video, yeah. I found a
Yeah.
bag of dildos, listener, at the side of the road. Discarded, unloved. Well, pre-loved.
pre-loved. Definitely pre-loved.
Anyway, yeah. This guy, I don't want to kill him. That was all jokes. I just should clarify that for the listener.
No, Gaz is a Nazi.
I don't believe in eugenics or murder unless he's in the park with butterflies on his dick.
Just phrenology.
I don't believe him.
That's because he has a brain pan of a stagecoach.
That's the Simpsons, isn't it?
I don't believe in phrenology, for fuck's sake.
It's a misquoted Simpsons line, but it's there.
How dare you use somebody else's jokes on me? Anyway, enough of this cockroach fucker.
Yeah. How about
Full
enough?
Alex.
Enough of you.
Full Alex.
Were you trying to get crazy with this, eh? Don't you know I'm loco?
Okay, so as always, let's end on Full Alex, the game show. Favourite game show in this flat, where Mike finds us a couple of random weirdos spouting bollocks that he finds on the internet, and then he pitches them against the, let's say, the patron saint of the angry shouting man himself, Alex
Set of
Jones.
gammons.
Patron saint of gammons? Yes, I will go for that.
He's on another level than Gammons.
He is,
come
to be
on.
fair. He's
He's not bothered
the
about
patron saint of bullshit.
of like metaphysical, insane, sci-fi babble fucking bullshit though. Some of the stuff
Yeah.
he goes on about is incredible.
Yeah.
All those 17-year-old cheerleaders who wanted to bang him when he was
there's,
13.
there's that level to it as well.
Something creepy about that, in my opinion. But nonetheless, he is a patron saint of the show. He's the last to appear this episode.
Hey.
So, alright, Mike, who's taking on St. Alex?
Okay, first up we've got Tom Brokaw, or Brokaw.
Is he a newbie?
He is a newbie.
Oh!
He
Well,
said,
last newbie won.
Making his debut.
yeah.
Last debutant
We've got
won.
2 newbies this week.
Oh, so one of them could win.
Maybe.
Wow.
Could be up for Rookie of the Year.
Well, I don't know. Little Tommy Thorne. No, Tom Thumb wasn't bad, was he? Whatever his fucking name
Tom
was.
Horn.
Tom Horn. Little Tommy Horn wasn't too bad.
That's it. Right, okay, let's see what this motherfucker's got to say.
He says that Hispanics should work harder at assimilation.
Oh.
Is he Hispanic
A
himself?
lot of this we don't want to talk
No, he's
about.
not.
The fact is, on the Republican side, a lot of people see the rise of an extraordinary, important new constituency in American politics, Hispanics, who will come here and all be Democrats. Also, I hear when I push people a little harder, I don't know whether I want brown grandbabies. I mean, that's also a part of it. It's the intermarriage that is going on and the cultures that are conflicting with each other. I also happen to believe that the Hispanics should work harder at assimilation. That's one of the things I've been saying for a long time. That they ought not to be just codified in their communities, but make sure that all their kids are learning to speak English and that they feel comfortable in the communities. And that's going to take outreach on both sides, frankly.
He rightly got Donkey of the Day on the Breakfast Club.
Hey! Well, he was just an old racist, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's pretty offensive. I don't think it's too batshit crazy because it's just, like you said, it's just run-of-the-mill old man
Old
racism.
man Christian right-wing racism.
Yeah.
He said that people don't want brown grandbabies.
He
Well, they
is,
do
but
if
that's
they're
just,
brown.
that's just racism though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I'm joking.
It'd be like if you met a black girl and your parents said, we don't approve of this.
Mm.
It's just that kind of old man racism. Alright, who's next?
Next up, climate denier William Happer says that carbon dioxide is just like the Jews.
He looks like a comic book villain.
He does, doesn't he? That side part is not helping him.
Holy moly.
How much confidence at this point do you have in models that show a 2% increase in Celsius over the next 100 years?
I don't think anyone has any confidence in them. I certainly have no confidence in them.
I'm immediately gonna get mail that you're funded by Exxon or by the hydrocarbon industry. Do you have any vested interest, any conflicts that cause you to have these views and that are many people would say anti-science or at least against the scientific community?
Well, I consider myself part of the scientific community. You
must get a lot of flack, don't you, Professor? Don't you get a lot of flack?
Yeah, of course. But so what? That's been true forever. When Galileo had his tiff with the church, he got a lot of flack too.
Yeah, he was right.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Professor, I have some issues with all of this, obviously, because you don't believe in climate change at all. You made a comment.
Just a minute. I believe in climate change.
Sir,
Shut up.
Sir, I'm open to all ideas. You made a comment back in 2009 comparing climate change to the Holocaust. And my question is, are you suggesting, when you made that comment, that climatologists and climate scientists are the equivalent of Hitler and Nazis? I mean, that's what it seems like you were trying to say.
I get called a denier, and anyone who objects to all of the hype gets called a denier. That's supposed to make me a Holocaust denier. I'm getting tired of that. And the comment I made was the demonization of carbon dioxide is just like the demonization of the poor Jews under Hitler. Carbon dioxide is actually a benefit to the world, and so were the Jews.
Wow. That's some backtracking, isn't it? Now, see, the thing that worries me there is that he's a Princeton University professor. Now, Princeton's a pretty prestigious college in America, isn't it? I mean, our American listeners can tell me it's not or it isn't.
Maybe
it is.
he's right.
But it's like, well, so he's a pretty clever guy. He's teaching at a prestigious college. But at the same time, that other guy is accusing him of just taking essentially petrodollars.
Who funds universities?
Well, this is it. It's not not the state, is it? It's private backers.
He's been paid.
A lot of time it is. Yeah.
Been paid to
Paid
say
off,
it,
yeah.
but it's alright. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? this is the way the world works, isn't
But
it?
of course, the demonisation of carbon dioxide, just like the Holocaust.
Of course it is.
Yeah, but he's saying, he's now saying that carbon dioxide's fine. We need more.
Yeah, he's saying the demonisation of it.
The poor demonised
carbon dioxide is like
shoved into its
like
militaristic.
the poor Jews of the 1930s in Germany and Eastern Europe and all of Europe. So
it's a bit of an odd comparison, isn't it?
It is a little bit.
One's a gas.
There was gas involved.
And the other one had gas involved.
It did, yeah. Zyklon B. Was it?
It was.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Watching Ideal again. You ever watch that?
I did.
Johnny Vegas.
Yeah, I've seen bits of it.
Yeah, the club that they go to is called Zyklon B.
That'd be a good name for a band, man. As well.
No, it wouldn't. Gas. It really would. I think a band already did that and it didn't work out.
You know.
No, it wouldn't. It really wouldn't.
Sounds cool.
It was actually made by a company that's still about today. I think
Bayer, was it?
Bayer, I think. Maybe. There's a lot of companies that had a lot to do with the Holocaust who are still about today and profiting massively.
Yeah, one of the biggest tractor companies in Germany.
This is Mengele and Sons.
Mengele's
Hugo Boss.
Still called Mengele and Sons.
Because it's so called Mengele and Sons. Make tractors. Hugo Boss, of course. Mike.
They make the uniforms.
They did.
Hugo Bastard.
IG Farben, obviously Mercedes, Volkswagen, Porsche made tanks.
Well,
I mean,
well, back to this babbling fucking loon.
yeah, this guy's just been paid off, man. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
I mean, what he's saying is insane because he's an educated man, and 98%, 98% of scientists across the globe say climate change is a thing, and he's.
Well, compared to the Jews, that's pretty full, Alex, isn't it?
It's pretty full, Alex. Yeah, I'll give you that. That leap there, yeah, I'll give you that. So what's Saint Alex himself got to say?
Well, apparently the army has caused Alex Jones to have a psychotic break.
Okay, the army.
Yes.
Okay.
This stuff's real, folks.
Whoa.
The army follows me around to and from work a lot of days. I got guys in high and tight haircuts, special forces following me around. This isn't a game, people. I have the army following and watching me. I go to events and they have the army watching us, and it's now in the news. The army follows us around. We go protest the Federal Reserve and Ron Paul.
Alex, do a Gunner impression.
Proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm thumb scanned, and everything gets listened to, and the police wear black uniforms, and I get home inspections for my carbon tax, and I gladly turn my guns in, 'cause I'm proud to be a slave of the bakers. God bless the slaves and the masters. Yes, our great time of murder is almost here. We've always hated America. We've got secret police in place. They're ready to wage war. The public's lost their spirit to stand up. Soon the murder will begin. This country's ready to be raped. It's ready to be slaughtered. Our power is about to be released. God, please, Satan, release us to kill the American people. They are ready for us to drink their blood, to bathe in their blood.
I was enjoying a bit of Led Zeppelin at the end there, to be fair.
Well, that was a nice little compilation, which, you know, it's always a bit of a...
Sometimes you need to miss the compilations, but that one was...
No, I was going to say, it's sometimes a bit unfair on the other contestants. I'm not sure.
It was all about the same subject, really.
I'm struggling this week. I think...
Alex, if we're going full Alex,
yeah,
in the terms of the show, who goes the most crazy?
Well, it's him.
Or says the most crazy.
But... See, nowadays I consider climate change denial on quite a low level of crazy.
Well,
I do, because I think most scientists...
Exactly, so he's quite crazy to think that, isn't he?
To be fair, Alex has just said that the government, the secret forces are going to murder people.
Yeah.
And it's coming, and the country's ready to be raped. Ready to be, what was the other word?
Destroyed, I think.
Bathed in the blood of the American people.
What was the other guy again?
And he did scream, "This is real."
The other guy said that people don't want brown grass.
Oh, he was just an old bigot.
I'm going to give it to Alex.
I'm giving it to Alex.
Yeah.
I'm going with Alex. First guy is just an old Christian right-wing bigot. Second guy's been bought off.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? It genuinely concerns me that he is a Princeton University professor and he's been bought off. That concerns me.
Yeah, it's the way the world works.
I know, yeah, but he's educating the next generation of young minds,
He
guys.
hires these people, Ben.
Well, yeah, of course. It's the
establishment.
Yes.
And they hire conservative
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
professors.
But
he might not say this.
I expect universities to be a place of freedom of learning, and the fact that that has crept into there terrifies me.
Ben, he might not say this in fucking private classrooms. He's just willing to go on.
Yeah, but that follows him
public
to the
media.
classroom, guys.
Yeah, but he's just willing to be a pawn to go on the news. Yeah, I'll go on the news and say this publicly and take the hit for that.
Yeah,
man.
but
if you're in his class, if you're in
He's
his
teaching
class
that.
and you
we
disagree
don't know
with
that.
him,
We don't know that though, do we? We don't actually know that he's teaching it.
he's a professor.
You'd imagine
Yeah,
that's what he's teaching.
Yeah, but we don't actually
He's
know
been
that.
paid
do we?
not just to say it on the news. He's obviously been paid to teach in the class.
Yeah, but we don't know that though. We don't actually know that.
We
for a
don't.
fact.
We don't.
No,
That's true.
we guess we don't.
That
But
is guess,
He
though.
might not be like saying, "Oh, climate change are the bollocks" in the classroom, but he might be saying, you know, that's the evidence for climate change.
Yes,
and
but-
an equal amount of evidence against climate change.
Yes,
I'm
but-
going to present here, even though it shouldn't deserve the same airspace, because 95%.
But he's going on live television. What channel was that from?
NBC.
NBC News. Pretty big player. And yes, the people in the studio are tearing him a new one, in all fairness. Or trying to. And he's sitting and saying, no, rubbish. No. Whether you like it or not, when he goes on there, I just hit that thing. When he goes on there and says that, and then goes in the classroom and says one other thing, it's a completely different matter. But his professional reputation has to take a hit from that, doesn't it?
I imagine
his academic reputation, which is what academics have, is their reputation.
Yeah.
Has to take a hit from him going on NBC News and saying, "Nah, climate change bullshit."
Well, he believes it, doesn't he? He doesn't just one day just think, "Oh, I'm going to just do that and believe what I believe." He was hired because he had them beliefs.
Well, yes.
He hired them people in the first place.
I can see that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all right.
Well,
but even so, I find that terrifying that man is educating the next generation of the best minds in the country.
They're not ours. They're fucking Americans.
Yeah, but even so, they're at college.
Sorry, guys.
They are the best minds of their generation, arguably.
Yeah, well, one of the troubles we're in is because, you know, the economics they teach in America is all right wing, isn't it? It's all.
Yeah, it's capitalism.
Yeah,
but
they don't teach Marxism in American schools. Not many.
I think this is a discussion for another day. Let's wrap up fun, Alex.
Okay, so we're going for an Alex win.
I think he wins. Yeah.
Alex win.
Alex
okay.
wins.
The two newbies couldn't hack it this week, so. And we're also all in agreement that the Dr. David Kelly death was a bit shady.
Yeah. Rare.
At the least.
For once,
shady at the least.
For once, we're all in agreement. Yes.
Yeah.
They did it. That was it.
I think that whether it was our boys, whether it's MI5,
I'm thinking maybe the French.
Possibly the French. Could be anybody. Could be Mossad. Who knows?
Somebody did it.
Someone did
it.
It
wasn't Dr. Kelly.
Yeah, I don't think it was Dr. Kelly at all.
Right. Excellent. You know what to do, Ben.
Okay, well, I've been Ben. Thanks for listening, wherever you are. And I'm going to say, don't drink the Flavour Aid and don't join a cult.
I've been Gaz. Thank you very much for listening. I will say free Biff Tannen and goodbye.
I've been Mike. Thanks for listening. Peace out. May the force with you. I will add, if I'm found dead in the woods in a few days, I didn't kill myself. I was suicided.
In fact, that goes for all of us,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
We are pretty close
if we
to
get
the truth.
found, if we get found somewhere,
yeah. And if anyone's got some blue tack that they can send us, some,
that'd be nice.
You could put up our banner.
That would be nice.
That's how close we are to the CIA. We're really, really close. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Good night.